Chapter 211. In the end, Ning Fan agreed to Xiao Wanluo's request. However, at the same time, he took away 100 million immortal jade from the Pill Cauldron Gate. Fortunately, they were in the Endless Sea. If they were in the orthodox cultivation sects, plundering would be restricted by the laws of the world, and it would be very difficult for them to be so wealthy. After all, even though Xiao Wanluo was a coward in front of Ning Fan, he was an expert who was even stronger than the king of Great Jin. Several days later, a young man and woman arrived at the Black Warrior City. It was still bustling with Xiuzha like ants, but the goal of coming here was different, and the mood was different. The female corpse looked left and right. She was curious about everything. When she passed by the roadside stalls of rogue cultivators, she would take whatever she liked and leave. She had no idea what it meant to pay. Ning Fan, on the other hand, had no choice but to pay the bill for the female corpse. It was not until she held the dead woman's hand that she reluctantly became obedient. Light isn't comfortable. The woman pouted. It was indeed uncomfortable. Every mortal child who had gone to the market with their mother would experience it. The feeling of being held by their mother and not allowed to run around was truly an itch in their hearts. Be obedient. Ning Fan stroked the black hair of the female corpse. His eyes, however, were admiring the local conditions and customs of the Black Tortoise City. That day, he came to Black Tortoise City in order to form his gold core. His body was covered in injuries and he was being hunted down. He simply didn't have the mood to enjoy the scenery. But now he was calm. The wind was gentle and the sun was bright. The sea fog was thick, and the scenery here was picturesque. It was worthy of being one of the 3 immortal islands of the outer Endless Sea. The two slowly arrived at the southern tower of the Pill Tower. The receptionist was still Yalan. As soon as she saw Ning Fan, she immediately greeted him with a smile. "Greetings, Master Zhou. What can I do for you?" On that day, she had witnessed with her own eyes how Ning Fan was lured by Elder Mo to meet the Tower Lord of the Southern Tower to test his 4th Revolution pill refinement technique. Elder Mo didn't state the result clearly, but Yalan knew that Ning Fan had most likely passed the 4th Revolution test. However, what she did not know was that Ning Fan was going to take the 5th Revolution test. She had heard of Mad Devil Zhou Ming before, but she had never associated him with the scholarly Ning Fan. Her gaze fell upon the female corpse beside Ning Fan and her eyes immediately turned gloomy. "No wonder Ning Fan rejected me when I offered myself to sleep with him. It turns out that he has such a stunning concubine. Miss Yalan, please inform Elder Mo that I want to see him." Elder Mo said that there's no need to announce Teacher Zhou Ming's visit. Yalan will bring Great Master to see Elder Mo. Mo Yun was testing a few Harmonious Spirit Pill Masters in the alchemy room. These pill refinement masters had all reached the peak of the 2nd Revolution and were attempting to refine 3rd Revolution pills in order to break through to the 3rd Revolution. Under Mo Yun's inspection, the 4 of them focused on refining the pill, not daring to slack off. However, Mo Yun frowned deeply. Among the 4 people, 3 were on the verge of failure, and 1 had barely succeeded, but the medicinal properties of the pill had been seriously lost. "Unqualified. All of you are unqualified." He flicked his sleeve angrily and immediately extinguished the earth fire of the 4 people. 10 years had passed and he was already a 3rd Revolution pill refinement master, only a step away from the 4th Revolution. Rather than wasting time on the 4 of them, it would be better to comprehend the 4th Revolution pill refinement technique. The 4 Harmonious Spirit Realm experts didn't dare to resent Mo Yun. They obediently said their goodbyes and left. On the long path leading to the pagoda, the 4 of them had unhappy expressions on their faces. Suddenly, they were startled when they saw the voluptuous Yalan leading a man and a woman to find Mo Yun. Such a respectful expression. Obedience that came from the bottom of his heart. Yalan's flattering expression towards Ning Fan was overflowing. The 4 of them were martial brothers. Among them, 1 of them had a crush on Yalan. His name was Yu Wei. His bone age was 100 years old and he was the junior of a 3rd Revolution pill refinement master in the Western Tower. He had the intention to become Yalan's Dao companion, but Yalan had never looked at him in the eye. He didn't expect that the arrogant Yalan would flirt with a pretty boy today. He sneered and his eyes turned cold. His gaze swept across Ning Fan's body indiscernibly with hidden killing intent. However, he wouldn't immediately compete with Ning Fan because he couldn't figure out Ning Fan's background. Even if he was angry because he was reprimanded by Mo Yun. When his gaze fell upon the female corpse behind Ning Fan, he was immediately stunned by the peerless beauty of the female corpse. In the cultivation world, most of the women were beautiful because they cultivated Dao techniques. However, it was rare to find someone as beautiful as this woman. She was delicate and delicate. This woman's face was deathly pale, but it added a sickly look. Her cherry lips were bloodless, which made her even more pitiful. The white robe on her body increased her holiness. Her socks and silk shoes were spotless. Yu Wei's eyes revealed a trace of lust and passion as he sneered. He brushed past Ning Fan and the others, but in his heart he was thinking about Ning Fan's concubine. The female corpse and Ning Fan didn't seem to have any magical power, as if they were only at the first level of vein opening. To be able to make Yalan respect him, if it wasn't because of his strength, then his background must be extraordinary. Background? In the endless sea, who gives face to who? Who cares about whose background? Without strength, it would be difficult to move an inch. A mere vein opening junior actually has such a beautiful concubine. Hee, I will go back and investigate this person's background. When this person is alone, I will kill him and take his concubine. Killing is a matter for later. Right now, I will first enjoy my hand. That woman's butt is really perky. If I can touch it, hee. When he walked past the female corpse, Yu Wei sneered. Without leaving a trace, he gently reached out his hand and touched the female corpses but with lightning speed. With his harmonious spirit cultivation, he could touch the body of a vein-opening female cultivator so fast that she wouldn't even notice it. There were no good people in the endless sea. He was already used to this kind of playboy behavior. However, before his hand could touch the female corpses but, it was easily grabbed by a young man. This grab caused Yu Wei to be unable to move at all. And the bones in his arm were actually crushed by this grab. The pain of the broken bones was excruciating. Yu Wei coldly raised his head with horror and pain, but what he saw was Ning Fan's cold eyes. Just one look was enough to make Yu Wei feel a chill down his spine. All the hostility in his eyes turned into a flash of red light. It was as if under this gaze, all his cultivation would be destroyed. What level of killing intent was this? Hostility. Under this gaze, his immortal veins were on the verge of breaking. At this moment, how could he not know that the pretty boy he looked down on was actually a senior expert? A gold-core old monster. Or even, nascent soul. A senior, please spare my life. This junior is the junior of Elder Yu Long of the Northern Tower. Please spare. Before he could finish his words, he saw Ning Fan's cold snort. The primordial force of the heaven and earth vibrated. Under the vibration of the primordial force, the physical body of a mere harmonious spirit cultivator turned into a blood mist. He died instantly. This kind of method was unheard of by the other 3 harmonious spirit experts. They immediately concluded that the inconspicuous young man in front of them was an old monster above the gold core realm. Only a gold core old monster could kill a harmonious spirit expert so easily. You dared to kill my senior brother Yu Wei. Even if you are a gold core expert, you are still dead. My master is a peak 3rd Revolution Dan Master of the Northern Tower, an early nascent soul cultivator. I will definitely not let this matter rest. Is that so? I want to see if he dares to come and find me. Tell him, my name is Zhou Ming. What? Zhou Ming. No, it must not be the same person. The 3 harmonious spirit experts gritted their teeth and left in a hurry. They went to inform old ancestor Yu Long of the Northern Tower. Yalan covered her mouth with her hands in shock. She had always thought that although Ning Fan's pill refinement mastery was high, he was a modest and polite person. Now, it seemed like this person did not even blink when killing someone. What a ruthless heart. Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming. Could this Zhou Ming really be the devil Zhou Ming who caused a sensation in the external endless sea? That Zhou Ming is a ruthless person who can kill peak realm cultivators. Even though this Zhou Ming in front of me is also quite powerful, his bone age is only 340 years old. How can he be a peak realm cultivator? Her eyes became slightly calm and then worried. Master Zhou, you have caused trouble? You shouldn't have killed that Yu Wei, although Yalan also disliked him, shouldn't have killed him? He wanted to touch my woman. Shouldn't he be killed? Ning Fan smiled faintly. There was not a trace of killing intent in his smile, but it made Yalan's heart turn cold. It was a smile that was scarier than anger. That's not what I mean. That Yu Long is very protective of his people. I'm afraid this matter will not be easy to deal with since you have killed his junior. In Yalan's opinion, why don't you run away now? Also, don't go to see Elder. No need. I'm going to see Mo Yun. The reason why I came to the Southern Tower today is to become a guest pill refiner of the Lost World Palace. As for that Yu Long, he won't dare to provoke me. He won't dare to provoke me. His words might seem arrogant, but the domineering aura in them made Yalan's heart slightly impressed. For the sake of a concubine, he killed a nascent soul realm senior of the person he killed did not even dare to seek revenge. Could it be that this Zhou Ming is really the person in the rumors? All right. Yalan will bring you to see Elder Mo now. In the Northern Tower, the guest pill refiner, Yu Long, was concocting a 4th revolution pill. He was a peak 3rd revolution pill refiner and was only a step away from the 4th revolution. Once this pill is successfully concocted, it would mean that his Tao of pill refinement had advanced to the 4th revolution. Just a little bit more. The key is the method to condense the pill. Just like this, his eyes were filled with excitement. During the process of concocting the pill, his understanding of the Tao of pill refinement was slowly breaking through the bottleneck. But at this moment, 3 harmonious spirit youths rushed in from outside the door in panic. Old ancestor. Bad news. Due to the noise, Yu Long was distracted and lost control of the fire, causing the pill to self-destruct. He was about to concoct a 4th revolution pill, but he failed under the noise of the 3 youths. 4th revolution, 4th revolution. He was only a step away from the ethereal realm of the Tao of pill refinement. Rebellious disciple. Hateful. Hateful. Yu Long was enraged. He grabbed the 3 harmonious spirit realm youths with his primordial force, causing them to spurt out blood and fly backward. 2 died and 1 was injured. Yu Long was not a kind person. To be able to reach this stage, he was a ruthless person who had been tempered in the sea of blood. Even if they were his disciples, he could still kill them. 10 years of pill refinement failed in a single day. Killing this rebellious disciple was really letting them off easy. The reason why he left one alive was because he wanted to ask what kind of big matter could make these rebellious disciples panic like this. Yifeng, I'll give you 3 breaths. If you can't explain everything clearly, you will die. That Yu Feng was the one who spoke ruthlessly to Ning Fan. Yu Long gave him 3 breaths to answer. He did not dare to waste a single moment. He knew how bloodthirsty his master was. Yu Wei is dead. He died in the Southern Tower. He said with a trembling voice. What? Didn't he go with you to Mo Yun's place to test his alchemy skills? How could he die? Could it have been Mo Yun? This person has always been at odds with me, but as a mere Jindan, he definitely wouldn't dare to kill Wei. Who is it? Who is it? It's Zhou. Under old ancestor Yu Long's imposing manner, Yu Feng was careless and breathed his last. Zhou? Zhou what? Useless thing, you didn't even finish saying a name before you breathed your last. Good. I'll go to the Southern Tower myself and find him. Yu Long's eyes revealed a ferocious expression. He killed Yu Wei, but Yu Feng and the other 2 harmonious spirit realm experts escaped. This meant that the opponent's cultivation was not high and was probably only at the early gold core realm. Otherwise, he would never let Yu Feng and the others escape. He was like a gust of wind, sweeping out of the Northern Tower. With a roar that echoed throughout the entire city, he headed straight for the Southern Tower. Surnamed Zhou, you killed me, Sun Yu. This enmity is absolutely irreconcilable. At this moment, countless golden core cultivators and nascent soul cultivators in the Xianwu city looked up with astonishment. Oh, it was old monster Yu Long. His grandson was killed? There's going to be a good show. Standing in the air, Yu Long stared coldly at the southern tower. He could clearly feel that the person who killed his grandson was tainted by Yu Wei's blood qi and was still staying in the southern tower. He sneered. Surnamed Zhou, come out in 3 breaths. However, as soon as his voice fell, he immediately revealed a horrified expression for the first time in his life. He regretted it even more. He had come to the southern tower to cause trouble. Chapter 212. Only nascent soul cultivators were allowed to fly in Penglai. Many nascent soul cultivators who came to Xianwu City to cultivate flew into the sky and watched from afar. Yulong, peak 3rd Revolution Pill Refinement Master, early nascent soul realm, one of the guest pill refinement masters of the Northern Pill Tower. Furthermore, because this person had integrated the Tao of Slaughter into alchemy, he was favored by the North Tower's tower leader. The grandson of such a person was actually killed by someone from the Southern Tower. I'm afraid this matter will not be settled easily. I wonder who in the Southern Tower dares to kill Yu Long's grandson. Yu Long looked down at the Southern Tower and pondered. His surname was Zhou, and his cultivation base was at most at the early Gold Core realm. No matter how heaven-defying his background was, Yu Long still dared to kill him in the Endless Sea. Since he had failed to achieve a breakthrough in pill refinement, he might as well use his Heart of Slaughter to comprehend pill refinement once more. Surnamed Zhou, I'll give you 3 breaths of time to get out here. Having made up his mind, he closed his eyes and stepped into the sky with his hands behind his back. The terrifying aura of a nascent soul realm cultivator soared in the sky. Immediately, countless harmonious spirit realm and gold core realm cultivators in the city looked up at him with envy. Was this the power of a nascent soul cultivator who could single-handedly destroy a country? What a powerful aura! Just looking at it from afar made one feel suffocated. Yu Long came with murderous intent. Anyone who tried to stop him would be his enemy. Under such an imposing aura, even the ordinary early nascent soul realm old monsters were secretly shocked. This Yu Long's killing intent is so strong. But in the next moment, all the cultivators in the city, whether they were harmonious spirit, gold core, or nascent soul cultivators, all of their eyes shrunk in disbelief. Yu Long, on the other hand, opened his eyes in panic, and they were filled with horror. In front of him, a smiling young man in white clothes and a black cloak appeared without any warning. As soon as this person appeared, all of the energy Yu Long had built up was shattered, causing him to drop 10,000 meters. An unforeseen sense of danger caused his heart to beat rapidly, and he broke out in a cold sweat. I can't be wrong. On this person's body, there was still the aura left behind by Yu Wei after he killed him. However, this man was simply too frightening. Even though he was clearly smiling, Yu Long felt as if his body was on the verge of collapsing under this man's gaze. The origin energy around him was compressed and chaotic, making it hard for him to breathe, as though he was about to suffocate. His heart of devil cultivation, which he had cultivated for more than 1,000 years, trembled in fear at this moment. He couldn't see through this person's cultivation, but this person's casual words made Yu Long want to die. This sovereign is Zhou Ming. Did you just ask me to get out? Zhou Ming. Due to the massacre in the Pill Cauldron Gate, Zhou Ming's name had already resounded throughout the outer Endless Sea. As for his appearance, even if Yu Long didn't step out of his residence to concoct pills, he would still frequently hear about it. However, he basically didn't take Zhou Ming seriously. In his opinion, no matter how terrifying Zhou Ming was, he had nothing to do with him. However, it had never crossed his mind that the early Gold Core realm cultivator he wanted to kill to vent his anger was actually Zhou Ming. He was a ruthless person who could kill peak cultivators. Yu Long was not the only one panicking. As soon as Yu Long's voice faded away, the harmonious spirit realm and Gold Core realm cultivators were shocked. As for the nascent soul realm old monsters who were watching from the sidelines, their expressions changed drastically. Without hesitation, they teleported away, distancing themselves from Yu Long's battlefield. There were many people named Zhou Ming, but there was only one person who was named Zhou Ming and had such a condensed aura that could cause nascent soul cultivators to lose their minds. At this moment, Yulong did not have the slightest bit of arrogance that he had before. All that was left was bitterness. His face was pale. His hands that were placed behind his back were trembling and his palms were covered with cold sweat. I actually wanted to kill Zhou Ming to vent my anger. This is really, in his heart, he hated his unfilial grandson and disciple to the core. How could Yulong not know his grandson's character? When he saw the outstanding beauty in white standing beside Ning Fan, he immediately understood that his grandson's heart was stirred by lust. Otherwise, with Zhou Ming's identity and status, how could he be so bored as to kill a harmonious spirit realm cultivator? My grandson deserves to die. He caused such a huge disaster for me. As for those 3 evil disciples, they deserve to die even more. It's fine if they divulge the information, but they just had to say their surname before they took their last breath. If I knew that the murderer was Zhou Ming, I wouldn't dare to find trouble with Zhou Ming even if I had 10,000 guts. Almost immediately, Yulong, who had been brimming with killing intent, changed his expression to one of pleading. Fellow Taoist, please forgive me. Please forgive me. This is all because of my recklessness. It's all a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. If I knew that fellow Taoist was here, I wouldn't have dared to speak such arrogant words. This old man is willing to compensate you. Oh? Compensate? Your grandson? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with mockery. This Yulong really changed his attitude faster than flipping a book. Moreover, before Ning Fan's killing intent was triggered, Yulong had already caught the storage pouch in a hurry and tossed it to Ning Fan from afar. My grandson provoked, revered Ming. He was courting death. It's good for him to die. Revered Ming? Good for him to die? Ning Fan sneered in his heart. This Yulong is really a troublemaker. In order to survive, he would say anything. Not only was he cruel and ruthless, but he was also good at flattering others. Revered Ming? However, only spirit-severing realm experts were revered in the external endless sea. Yulong's flattery was quite effective. Ning Fan sneered while hefting the storage pouch in his hand. 1 million immortal jade. This amount of money is not enough to buy your life. Let me plant a restrictive spell on you. Become my slave. In fact, Ning Fan could kill Yulong with a wave of his hand. The reason why he did not kill him was because he had heard some rumors about Yulong. This person seemed to be a nominal guest of the Pleasure Devil sect. It was fine to kill him, but not to kill him was also useful. He could ask him to lead the way. Rumor has it that the Pleasure Devil Sea domain was hundreds of thousands of li with chaotic primordial chi. I'm a nascent soul realm cultivator. Yulong's expression changed drastically. How could it be possible for a nascent soul realm cultivator to become someone else's slave? If you say no, you'll die. Ning Fan's smile disappeared. His eyes were filled with coldness. With a single step, he stepped on the sky. At this moment, all the nascent soul realm cultivators in the city felt a sharp pain in their hearts as if they were pierced by a sword. This was the first step of the nascent soul realm's 9 steps. It was just a single step, but it was executed with Ning Fan's current cultivation base. However, it made Yulong's face turn pale. He felt a sharp pain in his chest and vomited a mouthful of blood. As the saying goes, seeing is believing. At this moment, Yulong realized that even though he was an early nascent soul realm cultivator, he did not even have the qualifications to stand in front of Ning Fan. How could he dare to reject Ning Fan's order? Even if he became a slave, it was better than dying immediately. 9 steps of heaven treading, 9 steps of sword force. The first step could injure Yulong. The 3rd step could severely injure him. The 5th step could kill him. The 9th step could even kill a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. However, just as Yulong was about to speak, 3 boundless aura force shook the sky and dispersed the force of Ning Fan's step. The aura force of Ning Fan's step was dispersed and turned into 3 tall old men. Their facial features were almost the same. However, they were wearing brown, green, and white pill robes respectively. Their cultivation bases were all peak nascent soul realm cultivators. It's the tower masters of the 3 towers. I knew it. I heard that the Tower Master of the North Tower values Yulong very much. He won't let Yulong be planted with a mental seal. The surrounding cultivators discussed among themselves. Yulong heaved a sigh of relief. With the support of the Tower Master, he might not have to become Ning Fan's slave if he was lucky. When the three of them appeared, Ning Fan's eyelids twitched. The green-robed old man had 6,000 units of magic power. The white-robed old man had 6,500 units. The brown-robed old man had 7,000 units. The three of them were experts who could break through the bottleneck of the spirit-severing realm at any time. Subordinate Yulong greets the three Tower Masters, Dongqing, Shibai and Beihe. Qing and Bai nodded slightly while the brown-robed old man's eyes turned cold. "Shut up." Immediately, Yulong shut his mouth obediently. He did not dare to disobey the Tower Master's order. The three Tower Masters cupped their fists at Ning Fan. As for Beihe, he spoke in an indifferent tone. "Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, you're really impressive. You're only a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator, but you've already shaken the entire external endless sea. Now, you've even come to bully our Lost World Palace. In my opinion, you've already vented your anger. Let's forget about this matter. If fellow Taoist refuses to repent, don't blame me for being merciless." Beihe's words were decisive, not giving Ning Fan any chance to refuse. Zhou Ming could kill a peak nascent soul realm cultivator? The one he killed was just Luo Fei, who had 2,000 units of magic power. The three Tower Masters also had the means to kill him. Zhou Ming is a 5th Revolution Pill Master? Only Bei Xiaoman, Mo Yun and Lu Qing knew about this because Ning Fan had yet to become a foreign elder of the Lost World Palace. Otherwise, Beihe would not have treated Ning Fan so coldly just because of Ning Fan's pill refinement mastery. In terms of cultivation base, Beihe was indeed not afraid of Zhou Ming. Moreover, as the Tower Master of the Pill Tower of the Lost World Palace, his status was extraordinary. Even the Divine Transformation Realm, revered elders of the Rain Palace, had to treat him as their equal. Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. It was already rare for him to spare Yulong's life given his personality. However, now that Beihe and the others had intervened, the prestige he had built up in the external endless sea would crumble if he retreated now. People of great forces would always have their own pride and arrogance. However, such pride would not work in front of Ning Fan. He even dared to capture Stone Warrior. Even though Beihe's magic power was extraordinary, Ning Fan did not put him in his eyes. In the external endless sea, one had to rely on their own strength to gain a firm foothold. Initially, he only wanted to be a foreign elder of the Lost World Palace. However, it seemed like he might as well kick Beihe out and become the Tower Master of the Northern Tower. "I came here today to join the Lost World Palace. However, first, Yulong's grandson violated my wife. Then, the Tower Master of the Northern Tower spoke rudely. Today, I'm here to demand an explanation from the Lost World Palace. Do you think you're invincible just because you're a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator? What kind of explanation do you want from the Lost World Palace? Immortal Jade? Or pills? As for joining the Lost World Palace, just because you've hurt my people, I can stop you from thinking about becoming a foreign elder of the Lost World Palace." Beihe sneered. "I want you, Tower Master of the Northern Tower. Arrogant brat." Beihe's eyes turned cold. He grabbed Ning Fan with one of his hands. Immediately, the primordial energy of heaven and earth within 1,000 li turned into a rain of fire and swept towards Ning Fan. Seeing that Ning Fan was in danger, the female corpse took a step forward to help him deal with Beihe. It would be a piece of cake for her to crush Beihe to death. As a dignified corpse devil, she was only afraid of Ning Fan's light. Who else would she be afraid of? However, before she could make her move, Ning Fan grabbed her hand and shook his head. "Be good. Wait for me." The female corpse's attitude made Ning Fan very happy. She knew how to protect him. His kindness to her was not in vain. However, Ning Fan wanted to dampen Beihe's spirit in this battle so that he could become the Tower Master of the Northern Tower. He did not need help. He alone was enough. Fame, wealth and status were all things that he had to seize with his own hands. Bei He's primordial energy had transformed into a fourth-grade spiritual fire, the spirit scorpion fire. Ning Fan lifted his finger. The white bone flame and the black demon flame turned into a gray whirlpool of flames that swirled in the sky. The moment the flames appeared, Bei He's expression changed drastically. He found it hard to believe. The spirit scorpion fire that he had released trembled slightly as if it was afraid. When a spiritual fire reached the 5th grade, it would become an earth vein demonic fire. Everything below the 5th grade was like an ant. How could he not be afraid of an ant's fire? It would be fine if there was only one type of demonic fire. However, when 2 types of demonic fire were combined together, all the tower masters of the 3 towers who had refined a 4th-grade spiritual fire felt fear in their hearts at the same time. The earth vein demonic fire was a 5th-grade spiritual fire. It was a rare item for spirit-severing realm cultivators. When Ning Fan's strength was not strong enough, he had to be careful when using this flame. But now, he was not afraid to use it. Which spirit-severing realm cultivator in the external endless sea would dare to snatch his flame? This earth vein demonic fire. White bone flame. Black demon flame. Impossible. A 5th-grade demonic fire is hard to come by for spirit-severing realm cultivators. How did you get it? You don't need to know. Dragon Vortex Fire, 8th Revolution. The 8th Revolution flame turned into 8 gray fire dragons and swept across the sky. Bei He's brown sea of flames was extinguished. I've changed my mind. I want to be the pagoda masters of the East, West, and North pagodas. Chapter 213. Ning Fan's words were a little arrogant. He actually wanted to kill the 3 tower masters in the territory of the Lost World Palace and seize their positions. However, this arrogance and Zhou Ming's ferocious reputation made it easy for others to accept it. It made them believe that he had the right to be arrogant. He thought that he would not be able to see Yulong's revenge. Unexpectedly, he would be able to see Zhou Ming's ferocious act again. Ning Fan wanted all the tower masters of the East, West, and North towers. It might seem arrogant, but Ning Fan had some guesses about it. Bei He did not know about his 5th Revolution pill refinement realm and spoke rudely to him. However, it was strange that the Divine Transformation realm Lu Qing, who was in charge of the Middle Tower, did not show up to mediate. Lu Qing should know about his 5th Revolution pill refinement realm. Ning Fan had caused a huge uproar in Xianwu City, but he did not show up. When Ning Fan said that he wanted to seize Bei He's position as the Tower Master of the North Tower, Lu Qing still did not show up. This explained some problems. Lu Qing had tacitly agreed to his words and actions. Ning Fan could even imagine that Bei Xiaoman was probably waiting in the dark to watch him kill someone. He made a bold guess that the so-called 3 Tower Masters were not on the same side as the Lost World Palace. Lu Qing should be on the same side as Bei Xiaoman. As for Dong Qing, Shi Bai and Bei He, they should be external Endless Sea Pill Refinement Masters or people from the Rain Palace. Perhaps they were people from the internal Endless Sea, some other forces, or they had a grudge against Lu Qing. In short, they were not on the same side as Lu Qing. That was why Lu Qing did not show up to stop them. If it was not for that, Lu Qing would have shown up with a smile and made both sides stop fighting. After Ning Fan figured out Lu Qing's intention, he became even more determined to establish his prestige. The cultivators present at the Pleasure Devil Sea area to participate in the Grand Cultivator Auction were all Grand Cultivators. Many of them would not even put Luo Fei and Xiang Liao in their eyes. If Ning Fan wanted to continue using his devil might to intimidate others, it would be beneficial for him to establish his prestige here. However, his arrogant words made Bei He and the other 2 Tower Masters' faces turn pale. His earth vein demonic flame caused Bei He and the other 2 to drool. I didn't expect that I would be able to obtain the black demon flame and white bone flame without the green phoenix flame. As long as I kill you, these 2 flames will be enough to hand over to Flame Reverend and complete my mission. Flame Reverend? Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. Sure enough, he seemed to have guessed it correctly. It was rumored that Reverend Yen of the Rain Palace was a mid-spirit severing realm expert and a 5th Revolution pill master. He seemed to have cultivated a flame art secret technique that specialized in devouring spirit fire to increase his cultivation level and improve his alchemy Dao. He was also a foreign dignitary of the Lost World Palace. Bei He and the other two were indeed planted by the revered elders of the Rain Palace. They were most likely after Bei Xiaoman's green Luan fire. This also made Ning Fan understand one thing. Why wasn't the green Luan flame with Lu Qing or the other three pagodas, but with Bei Xiaoman? Because of Lu Qing's identity and status, he would not be able to keep the green Luan fire. Even the revered elders of the Rain Palace would not dare to snatch it away from Bei Xiaoman. Although killing the three of them seemed arrogant, the truth was that the Lost World Palace had tacitly agreed to it. If he could kill the three of them, he would definitely have the strength to intimidate Lu Qing. At that time, it would not be difficult for him to become a foreign elder of the Lost World Palace and ask for the Green Phoenix fire. As for offending revered Yen of the Rain Palace, it was not within Ning Fan's consideration at all. It seems like there will be a life-and-death battle between me and the three Tower Masters. Wei Liang, wait for me here. Remember, you are not allowed to eat people. I will be back soon. Careful. Ning Fan stroked the hair of the female corpse and his eyes turned cold as he looked at the three of them. It's inconvenient to use force in the Xianwu city. It's not good to hurt the innocent. If the three Tower Masters want to kill me, you can come to the outer endless sea and have a battle. Ning Fan's gray light flashed and he teleported away. His speed attracted the attention of many nascent soul realm old monsters. Even Bei He and the other two became slightly serious. However, the earth vein demonic flames were right in front of them. The three of them exchanged glances and saw a trace of greed in each other's eyes. Even if Lu Qing showed up, the three of them would still resort to any means to rob and assassinate Ning Fan. All in all, they wanted to snatch the two types of earth vein demonic flames from him. If this was in Xiu country, it would be against the laws of the world. However, in the Endless Sea, killing is not a crime. The outer Endless Sea. The sea breeze was calm but the killing intent was solemn. Ning Fan stood on the surface of the sea. Bei He and the other two stood in a triangle formation with Ning Fan in the middle. Within 10,000 li of the sea, no one dared to step in and watch the battle. Countless people were eager to see who would emerge victorious between Zhou Ming and the three Tower Masters of the Pill Tower. Zhou Ming, I will give you one last chance. Hand over the black demon flame and the white bone flame and I will forgive you for your arrogant words. There's no need for that. Can't the three of you see that the Lost World Palace allowed me to kill you? Of course I can. How can I not see it? That Lu Qing wants to use you to eliminate us three brothers. However, you alone are not enough. I'm afraid Lu Qing is going to be disappointed. Dong Qing's eyes flashed with a cold light. He clawed with his hand. Billowing green flames covered the sky and interweaved into the shadows of green lotuses. Fourth grade spiritual fire, Jade Lotus fire. Shibai's eyes narrowed and he let out a shout. He opened his mouth and spat out a sea of blue flames, which covered the surface of the sea and boiled it. Fourth grade spiritual fire, Sea Heart Flame. The three Tower Masters were all Fourth Revolution Pill Refinement Masters. The reason why they had such strong magic power was because they had been concocting pills for 1,600 years since they were young. With countless spiritual herbs from the Rain Palace, the three of them did not lack spiritual herbs. They concocted pills every day and their pill refinement techniques were extraordinary. Due to the fact that concocting pills consumed their magic power every day, their magic power was strong and condensed. It was even stronger than most of the ferocious devils in the external Endless Sea. However, the three of them also had their weaknesses. They were not good at fighting. The method they were best at attacking their enemies was none other than controlling fire. From their point of view, even though Ning Fan had the earth vein demonic flame which could threaten them with his spiritual fire, it could only be used once. After the three of them increased their control over their magic power, the spiritual fire would no longer tremble when facing the earth vein demonic flame. The three of them were the most outstanding peak nascent soul realm cultivators. As for Ning Fan, he recklessly lured them to the external Endless Sea. It would be fine if there was a grand formation in this place. However, Dong Qing and Shi Bai did not even manage to burn a single trace of the grand formation when one of them burned the sky while the other burned the sea. This undoubtedly showed that the young man in front of them was really arrogant enough to fight against the three of them alone. He was just a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. Did he really think that he could fight against a peak nascent soul realm cultivator? Moreover, there were three of them on Bai He's side. Junior, I'll give you one last chance. If you can show me a background that can make me fearful, I might be able to. Bai He sneered. He secretly used a secret technique to draw away the flames and launched a sneak attack. However, before he could finish his sentence, Ning Fan sneered. Noisy, insignificant tricks. He raised his foot and stomped on the ground. At this moment, thousands of li were frozen and heaven and earth shattered. The ice shattered. The force of the stomp caused the brown scorpion fire which was initially hidden to attack Ning Fan to be forcefully revealed. It turned into a brown sea of flames and slowly dispersed. Bai He's face was filled with shock. He was secretly shocked by Ning Fan's keen observation and the terrifying physical strength that he displayed with just a stomp. However, even if Ning Fan noticed his sneak attack, so what? Let's attack together. Tao of Fire, Scorpion Flame Devil Rain. Lotus Movement, 70% Technique. Fourth Layer Sea Realm Technique. The three of them were most proficient in fire attacks. Three types of peak nascent realm magical techniques, coupled with their vigorous magical power. Even a spirit-severing realm cultivator would not be able to withstand their joint attack. In the sky, the dark green sea of flames transformed into thousands of lotus shadows. The shadows turned into flames. On the surface of the sea, the dark blue sea of flames evolved into 4 layers, filled with dense killing intent. Between the dark green and dark blue flames, the brown spiritual flames turned into devil rain. Tens of thousands of devil rain droplets could easily incinerate a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. Both the sky and the earth were covered in flames. Heaven and earth were on the verge of burning. However, Ning Fan stood in the sea of flames with a cold smile, unruffled. He walked through the sea of flames step by step. Immediately, the sea of flames parted and dispersed. Just a look from him was enough to make the weak spiritual flames feel a faint sense of fear. Fire. It's a great supplement. Heaven and earth flame sea, absorb for me. Ning Fan's eyes darkened. At this moment, the yin-yang locket in his dantian released a rolling, tearing force. It seemed to have formed an invisible vortex. Before the magical techniques formed by the 3 spiritual flames could touch Ning Fan's body, they were sucked into Ning Fan's stomach with a strange suction force. The yin-yang locket devoured them, causing the flames of heaven and earth to rapidly melt. The yin-yang locket was not afraid of flames. In the past, Ning Fan was able to devour a black demon flame fire dragon with his weak magical power. Now, Ning Fan's magical power was at the mid-nascent soul realm. Spiritual flames below the 6th revolution were not qualified to be used in front of him. This was the reason why he was not afraid of Revered Yen of the Rain Palace. Revered Yen swallowed fire? No matter how many flames there was nothing to be afraid of. They would only become nourishment for the yin-yang locket's yang force. The yin-yang locket had already turned into a piece of blood jade. After absorbing the flames, a line of blood seemed to form on the locket, dividing the left and right sides. The blood on the left side became lighter while the blood on the right side gradually turned dark red, as if it was dividing yin and yang. In just a few breaths, all the flames within 1,000 li were easily absorbed by Ning Fan. Looking at the disappearance of the spiritual flames and the unharmed Ning Fan, Bai He and the other 2 sucked in a breath of cold air. What kind of technique is this? This kid actually dared to swallow the flames. Even Revered Yen couldn't do it. Only the descendants of the legendary flame vein who had cultivated to the extreme could swallow the flames. Could this kid have the immemorial divine vein? Flame vein? If it was such a rare divine vein, even the 3 of them wouldn't dare to offend him. The Rain Sovereign had ordered them to appease the rare divine vein and never harm it. The three of them didn't have the time to think about it because Ning Fan had already counterattacked. An enormous sea of flames was drawn out from the yin-yang locket and turned into a finger. After fusing with the black demon flame and white bone flame, he pointed his finger at Ning Fan. Dragon Vortex Fire, 9th Revolution. The deadly devil voice came out from Ning Fan's mouth coldly. This finger attack was the combination of the full power of 3 Peak Realm cultivators and Ning Fan's ultimate attack. 9 layers of gray whirlpools of flames appeared in the sky. The sky and the sea within 1,000 li began to boil. The whirlpools spun rapidly and the primordial force was torn apart, producing 9 gray fire dragons. Each of them was 1,000 li long and emitted a terrifying aura that could crush late nascent soul realm cultivators. Among them, Bei He and Shi Bai were each burned by one of the fire dragons. They were already in a fluster. As for the other 7 fire dragons, they were used to kill the weakest among the 3, Dong Qing. The yin-yang locket could only swallow the flames once. Before the 3 of them faced Ning Fan decided to kill one of them with lightning speed. As for Dong Qing, he had 6,000 units of magic power. His success rate was the highest. However, such an obvious sneak attack would most likely not work. Ning Fan sneered in his heart. He had made up his mind. The moment the dragon fire attacked the enemy, he disappeared without a trace. It was the sense concealment art. When the 7 fire dragons attacked Dong Qing and Ning Fan was about to launch a sneak attack, Bei He's heart sank. He knew that things were not going well. Dong Qing was the 3rd brother and the weakest among the 3 of them. Ning Fan had purposely used the 7 dragons to attack the weakest person. His intention was clear. He wanted to kill Dong Qing in one strike. He wanted to sneak an attack on Dong Qing. This man is so ruthless. However, he can't get what he wants. Bei He shouted and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. At the cost of his cultivation base, he grabbed the dragon fire and crushed it. The dragon fire was enough to kill a late nascent soul realm cultivator in an instant. However, Bei He was able to extinguish it in an instant. He was indeed a peak realm great cultivator. Without stopping, he teleported to Dong Qing's side and said solemnly, "Don't be afraid, 3rd brother. I'm here to help you." With Bei He helping Dong Qing to resist the fire dragons, even if the technique could injure the 2 of them, it would only be a light injury. Shi Bai could see that Dong Qing was in trouble. He bit the tip of his tongue to crush the dragon fire and went to help Dong Qing. However, the figure of a young man with cold eyes appeared behind him out of nowhere. As soon as he appeared, his fists landed on Shi Bai's back like raindrops. His high-grade defensive armor shattered after tens of punches. The remaining force immediately caused Shi Bai to suffer serious injuries. After that, every punch that landed on Shi Bai's back worsened his injuries. Every inch of his spine was crushed. Shi Bai's face turned pale. He did not expect Ning Fan to be a diversion. The one he wanted to kill first was actually himself. He did not expect Ning Fan's fist strength to be so terrifying. The fist strength of a half-step Jade Life Realm expert. Each of his punches produced the sound of mountains and rivers collapsing. Puffed at the Tower Master of Shi Bai Tower was already severely injured after just a single exchange. At this moment, Bei He and Dong Qing's faces were filled with anger. It was already too late for them to save Shi Bai. According to the rumors, Zhou Ming was only at the 1st realm of silver bone body refinement. However, the truth was that he was only a step away from entering the Jade Life realm. No one below the Divine Transformation realm would dare to face him head-on with just the strength of their physical bodies. How is this possible? Shi Bai, who was severely injured, took out the small tower with great difficulty and threw it at Ning Fan. At the same time, he took the opportunity to escape. The small tower was a peak-grade, high-grade magic treasure. It was as black as iron, but it emitted a terrifying aura force. As soon as it soared into the sky, it grew to 1,000 zhang tall. With a loud sound of wind pressure, it smashed towards Ning Fan's head. On top of that, it had the ability of breaking magic attached to it. No magic technique could stop the tower from falling. In order to stop the tower, one could only use treasures to counter treasures or their physical bodies. From Shibai's point of view, Ning Fan's half-step Jade Life Realm physical body was already heaven-defying. However, even a true Jade Life Realm expert would not be able to use his physical body to resist a peak-grade high-grade magic treasure. However, something unexpected happened. Amidst the silver light, Ning Fan turned into a 100 zhang tall giant. With a punch, he actually used his physical body to resist the magic treasure. As for the result of the collision, the giant's body swayed for a moment before stabilizing itself. However, the giant tower was sent flying backwards, leaving a few cracks on it. Impossible! Even a Jade Life Realm expert cannot resist a peak-grade high-grade magic treasure. Indeed, a Jade Life Realm expert could not do it. However, Ning Fan had etched the Stone Warrior Devil marks and endured 99 needles to advance to the second level of the General Realm. The profound Earth Devil marks could increase the defense of his physical body by several times. In terms of offense, Ning Fan's body technique was not as good as a Jade Life Realm expert's. However, in terms of defense, only a second-level Jade Life Realm expert could be compared to him. After shaking the magic treasure, the giant's eyes flashed with indifference. With a point of his finger, a gray light flashed and ripples spread across heaven and earth. As for the Tower Lord of Shibai Tower who was trying to escape, he was shaken by the light. Immediately, countless invisible fine lines appeared around his body and fixed him in place. This body-fixing technique could only stop a peak nascent soul realm expert for one breath. Shibai's body turned cold. This one breath would determine his fate. Without any hesitation, he spurted out a few mouthfuls of blood essence to forcefully disperse the body-fixing technique. However, in that split second, the giant had already caught up to him. He reached out his hand and caught him in his palm. Then, something happened that made the three Tower Lords tremble in fear. The giant opened his mouth and swallowed the Tower Lord of Shi Tower, chewing him into pieces. He was eaten alive. Even his nascent soul realm expert could not escape. Bei He and Dong Qing had barely managed to disperse the dragon fire, but their faces had turned pale. This man is a madman. Only the demon race would dare to eat a cultivator alive. If it was a human, their immortal veins would definitely be destroyed because the spiritual power in their blood was too strong. However, the thing that made the two of them shiver the most was that the Tower Lord of Shi Tower who was ranked second among the three of them was already dead. Putting aside the fact that Ning Fan had used some tricks to create a diversion. Even if Bei He was slightly stronger than Shibai in a frontal attack, he would most likely be severely injured by Ning Fan. Is this Zhou Ming's true strength? Impossible. With such strength, how could Xiang Liao escape from him? Even my second brother couldn't escape from him. Yes, I remember now. Xiang Liao has been quiet ever since the Battle of the Pill Cauldron battle. There was no news of him seizing another body and being reborn. Xiang Liao must not have escaped that day. He must have been captured and killed by Zhou Ming. In other words, Luo Fei, Xiang Liao and Shibai, Zhou Ming had killed three peak nascent soul realm experts. This man's strength is not normal. No one below the spirit-severing realm is his match. Damn it, let's run. Dong Qing clenched his teeth in anger. Bei He answered without any hesitation. However, just as the two of them were about to teleport away, the giant flicked his finger and cast two body-freezing techniques on them, stopping them from escaping. It's too late to leave. Bei He's heart trembled under the devil might and he roared in anger. Zhou Ming, you've killed Shibai and violated the laws of the world. You've offended my rain palace. Are you still not going to stop? There are no laws in the endless sea. Good. Zhou Ming, don't be so arrogant. Initially, I didn't want to use this item because the price is too high. But since you're so stubborn, I'll kill you today. Profound heavenly spirit slaying sword, appear. Chapter 214. The sword was less than a foot long, green like jade, smooth and round, lacking sharpness, ancient and cracked. If he insisted on calling it a sword, Why not call it a dagger? Even so, when this sword appeared, it gave Ning Fan a great sense of crisis. Traces of heavenly spirit force were emitted from the sword. When the North Tower's Tower Master waved his sword, the heavenly spirit force turned into a faint green light. The faint light turned into a line, and the line was like a blade. With a gentle slash, it cut open an extremely thin wound in the void, revealing the dark void underneath the wound. Spirit treasure. Only numinous treasures could activate the power of the heavenly spirit and shatter the void. If this sword were to land on his physical body, no matter how strong his physical body was, it would still be damaged. In fact, even the lightning whips couldn't easily hit this treasure, or they would be damaged. Moments later, however, Ning Fan discovered something different. Although the sword was surrounded by sky spiritual energy, it was weaker than a real spiritual treasure. Spirit treasures were also known as mysterious heavenly spirit treasures. When a cultivator reached the soul formation level, they could condense their spirit intent. When a Dharma treasure reached the spirit level, it could merge with the heavenly spirit. The 5 elemental spiritual energy condensed into the origin energy of heaven and earth. When the origin energy was condensed to the extreme, it became the pure heavenly spiritual energy. For example, there was a faint green glow in this sword. The faint glow was less than an inch long, yet it could kill all body refinement cultivators below the jade life realm. Judging from its color, it should be the heavenly spiritual energy of the wood element. But if it was a spirit treasure, its power was a bit too low. Ning Fan's thought for a while and saw through it. Perhaps this sword was once a spirit treasure, but because it was damaged, it could only be regarded as a half-step spirit treasure. It was stronger than supreme grade spirit treasure but weaker than spirit treasures. It wasn't a profound heavenly spiritual treasure, but a incomplete profound heavenly treasure. Yes, that must be the case. Even an early divine transformation realm expert would find it extremely difficult to wield a true spiritual treasure. Even 10,000 units of magic power would not be enough for it. If it was a damaged treasure, then he could use it. Zhou Ming, I already know that your body refinement realm is not ordinary, but you have a whip that specializes in hitting people's magic treasures and killing nascent souls. Xiang Liao was caught off guard and suffered a loss. I will not repeat the same mistake. With this sword in hand, so what if your body refinement realm is high? In this old man's eyes, I can casually kill you. He sneered, but his pale face showed that he was not able to control the blade as he pleased. With the sword in his hand, he had an unprecedented confidence that he could even injure a soul formation cultivator. Third brother, use the treasure to block this kid's path of retreat. Don't let this kid escape. I have to damage my own cultivation in order to display the might of this sword. Moreover, if second brother dies and we gain nothing, it will be too unworthy. Dong Qing's traveling light flashed. He held a long lock in his hand and was on high alert. Once Ning Fan tries to escape, he would stop him. After sealing off Ning Fan's escape route, he slashed downwards with her sword. Hei's flesh and blood seemed to have been devoured by the dark heavenly spirit slayer sword. His face turned even paler, and his body began to shrink rapidly. In an instant he was reduced to a bag of bones. All of his blood chi had been absorbed into the sword. Like a green ray of light, it fell from the sky and connected to the surface of the sea. However, at the next moment, the ray of light was torn apart by the heavenly spirit. Heaven and earth were torn apart, revealing a dark void. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat when the green ray of light slashed at him. Without any hesitation, he tried to teleport away. However, the heavenly spirit thread was like a maggot attached to his bones. Wherever he went, the spirit thread would follow. There was no way for him to escape. Ning Fan's eyes turned fierce. He knew that he could only resist the heavenly spirit sword head-on. None of his magical treasures were spiritual treasures. He didn't even have an incomplete profound heavenly treasure. As such, it seemed like he could only rely on his physical body to resist the attack. This was definitely the strongest attack that a cultivator below the spirit-severing realm could unleash. It was even more terrifying than the attacks of early spirit-severing realm cultivators. The Earth star in his right eye moved. The earth elemental power of heaven and earth formed a dark yellow giant shield in front of him. Behind the giant shield, Ning Fan activated the Sense Defense art without any hesitation. He used his peak nascent soul realm black sword sense to form a giant black cocoon and wrapped himself within it. Inside the cocoon, his entire body turned into silver. Devil marks flickered on his skin, and he held more than 10 supreme-grade magical treasures in his hands. The giant shield formed by the earth elemental power was strong enough to withstand a strike from an ordinary peak nascent soul realm cultivator. However, under the green ray of light, the shield that was tens of zhang thick was cut into half. The surface of the shield was as smooth as a mirror. The first layer of defense was broken, but it only managed to reduce 1/5 of the power of the green ray. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. This green ray is too sharp. With a resolute look, the black cocoon formed by his spirit sense came into contact with the green ray. The sound of eggshell cracking could be heard. The black cocoon that was strong enough to withstand a strike from a peak nascent soul realm cultivator was broken. As for the green ray, it left a tiny scar on the empty spirit sense. Even though the scar was small, it made Ning Fan's sea of consciousness hurt, and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. The sense defense art was also broken. This sword is really terrifying. There was only 3/5 of the power of this sword left. It was not the right time for him to take it head-on with his physical body. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with madness. He threw out pieces of supreme-grade magic treasures and detonated them when they got close to the green ray. 1 treasure was broken. 10 treasures were broken. 100 treasures were broken. Almost all of the supreme-grade magic treasures obtained by the nascent soul realm cultivators that he killed were destroyed. Every time a treasure was destroyed, a trace of magic power that was comparable to the nascent soul realm bombarded the green ray. The powerful force of the broken treasures shook Ning Fan and sent him flying 1,000 zhang away. Even the green ray became illusory under the impact. The power of the green ray was only left with 1/5 of its original power. At this moment, it approached Ning Fan and slashed at his head. It was like a ray of light that silenced all sounds. Fast. It's too fast. As for Ning Fan, he tried to catch the light with his bare hands. His punch landed on the green ray. With just a single contact, the bones of his fist began to crumble. The green ray invaded his body and destroyed it wantonly. Before he was severely injured, Ning Fan's eyes suddenly became indifferent. His black hair grew longer and his body was shrouded in black mist. With a loud bang, his physical body shattered. The green ray was destroyed. The Tower Lord of the Eastern Tower, Dong Qing's eyes were filled with shock. Even though the sword could kill Ning Fan, its power was exhausted by Ning Fan in the end. Is this Zhou Ming's strength? Even though the profound heavenly spirit-slaying sword is an incomplete treasure, its power is not weaker than ordinary spiritual treasures. Even an ordinary spirit-severing realm cultivator would be injured by that sword attack. This man could actually destroy the green ray. His combat power is infinitely close to the spirit-severing realm. As for Bei He, he was also shocked. However, his face was filled with a cold smile. That sword attack had almost drained all of his blood essence. With such severe injuries, even if he used heavenly treasures to recuperate, he would not be able to recover without at least 100 years. Even if he did recover, his cultivation base would drop significantly due to the damage he inflicted on himself. After he recovered, he would probably only have less than 5,000 units of magic power left. The price of that sword attack was not small. Bei He was also considered a person. It was enough for him to be proud of himself for using that sword attack. Even though the price was huge, Revered Flame would definitely reward him for killing Ning Fan and obtaining 2 types of Earth Vein demonic flames. If he befriended a 5th Revolution Pill Master and was given a Separation and Reunion Pill, they would have the hope of attaining the spirit-severing realm in this lifetime. Third brother, quickly go to the place where you died and find the Earth Vein demonic flames. Let me rest for a while to suppress my injuries. But there's no demonic flames. Impossible. That sword attack triggered the power of the heavenly spirit and could destroy his nascent soul completely. Not a single drop of his blood and flesh would be spilled. However, spiritual items like the earth vein demonic flames would not be destroyed by the power of the heavenly spirit. Could it be that the sword cut the void and caused the two flames to fall into the void? This is troublesome. It seems like I can only injure myself again. I'll cut the void and retrieve the demonic flames. However, you will be the one to slash the next attack. Bei He, who was sitting cross-legged in the sky, was refining the power of the pills in his body. All of a sudden he felt a chill on his back. Countless black sword senses appeared behind him and turned into a cold and indifferent young man in black robes. The young man's face was slightly pale and he seemed to be injured. However, he was not dead. "You've injured me. Are you very proud of yourself?" Black Tempest Spirit Splitting Technique. The appearance of this warning sign was too strange. Bei He did not even have the time to ask for help from Dong Qing, who was 1,000 zhang away. The voice sounded like a demon. It was extremely cold, but it was exceptionally familiar. There was no mistaking it. It was that person. "Zhou Ming, you're not dead. How is this possible? How is this possible?" The young man exploded into black shadows again. Bei He immediately screamed in pain. His right arm, which was holding the sword, was chopped off by the black shadow. The black shadow entered his physical body, crushed his immortal meridians, destroyed his dantian, and headed straight for the little nascent soul that was hiding in his dantian. Just as his body was about to shatter and his nascent soul was about to perish, the golden-armored nascent soul crushed a jade medallion in a panic. A fiery light shot out from the jade medallion and teleported him 10,000 feet away. He looked at the young man who had reformed the black fog in disbelief. Dong Qing, on the other hand, was stunned by the sudden turn of events. How is this possible? Zhou Ming, who was slashed by the heavenly spirit sword, is still alive. What is that black fog? It can be shattered and condensed. What is the Black Tempest Spirit Splitting Technique? Bei He's physical body had been destroyed by the Great Shifting Jade. He was lucky enough to survive because of the Greater Teleportation Jade. Impossible! Impossible! Bei He screamed at the top of his lungs. His screams were filled with extreme fear. "Both of you are going to die. Before you die, I have a question. The reason why you spent so much effort to serve revered Flame of the Rain Palace is because he is a 5th Revolution Pill Master, right? However, you don't know that I am also a 5th Revolution Pill Master. You shouldn't have offended me." What? You are a 5th Revolution Pill Master? Dong Qing's heart sank. If they knew that Ning Fan was a 5th Revolution Pill Master, they would have tried their best to befriend him. Why would they hurt him just to please another 5th Revolution Pill Master? Regret, regret. But after regret, their eyes were filled with fear and hatred. This Zhou Ming's techniques are too strange. It's not easy to deal with him. It's better for me to escape from the endless sea and return to the Rain Palace. I'll ask revered Flame for help and avenge them. Trying to run? Freeze. Ning Fan pointed a finger at the two of them and fixed them in place. The eyes of his black body were as cold as 10,000 years of ice. He opened his mouth and sucked in Bei He's severed arm. Holding the green jade sword that was more than a foot long, Ning Fan felt as if heaven and earth had merged together. So this is the profound heaven spirit-slaying sword. I have underestimated the power of magic treasures along the way. I didn't expect that once a magic treasure enters the spirit rank, its power would be so terrifying. Even I would suffer some injuries. Even with my 190 units of magic power and my demon power, it was still not enough to activate the incomplete profound heaven treasure. The two of them who were frozen tried to escape by damaging their bodies. However, they were stopped by Ning Fan's finger once again. Break free, freeze. Break free, freeze. The two of them revealed a look of despair. Ning Fan's aura was comparable to that of a peak nascent soul realm cultivator in his current state. He was no longer as strong as the two of them. It was definitely not easy for him to break free from the body freezing technique. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, if you let me go this time, I guarantee that I won't hold you accountable for breaking the laws of the world after we return to the Rain Palace. Hold me accountable? Don't worry. I'm still studying how to use this sword. I'll behead you with it. You can't use this sword, even if it's a spirit-severing realm sword. Noisy! His voice melded with the sky and was filled with thunder. It reverberated in their hearts for a long time. At the same time, a vast and vicissitude aura slowly condensed on Ning Fan's body. With a stretch of his hand, it was as if he was grabbing the entire seabed of the sea domain. Soul extraction, an indifferent voice resounded. The soul of the earth fused into Ning Fan's body and turned into endless magic power. 300 units, 500 units, 1,000 units. 2,000 units, 5,000 units, 10,000 units. 10,000 units of magic power was comparable to a spirit-severing realm cultivator. With such a large amount of magic power, even if Ning Fan did not harm himself, it would be enough for him to sever his spirit with a single slash. Soul extraction. Soul extraction. I understand now. I understand now. This unbreakable shadow of yours is an incarnation. Moreover, it's one of the rare, indestructible incarnations. Why? You've actually comprehended 2 types of void fragmentation realm divine abilities at the nascent soul realm. Zhou Ming. Zhou Ming. Ha. It's not a waste for me to die in your hands. However, if you don't kill me, I'm willing to worship you as Noisy. A cold light flashed and a powerful aura force turned into a spirit-severing sword. The spirit-severing slashed horizontally in a semicircle. A green line slashed horizontally as if it was going to split the blue sky in half. The green line slashed through a human and a nascent soul. Their faces were filled with fear and hatred. Be it their nascent souls or physical bodies, they were all rapidly melted by the sword. 2 miserable shrieks resounded in the sea domain along with the wind. However, their screams were soon drowned by the earth-shattering rumble. A black crack appeared in the void. Traces of void power made one's scalp go numb. Then the crack healed. There was only a black-robed young man standing at the center of the waves, looking at the sword in his hand. He slowly dispersed the soul of the earth. A profound heavenly spiritual treasure is truly terrifying. I need to be extremely careful when facing a spirit-severing realm cultivator. I also need to refine a few suitable treasures. The Separation Slayer sword cannot remain as a high-grade sword anymore. In the Black Tortoise City, countless old monsters surrounded the southern Pill Tower. Among them, Lu Qing, Bei Xiaoman and the other higher-ups of the Lost World Palace were holding 3 pieces of life jades in silence. The 3 pieces of life jades had shattered one after another. This undoubtedly meant that the 3 tower masters had died one after another. The southern Pill Tower was dead silent. After a while, a sensational news shocked the entire Prenglai and spread across the outer endless sea at a terrifying speed. Zhou Ming had killed 3 peak nascent soul realm cultivators with his own strength. The 3 tower masters of the Lost World Palace and the 3 guest elders of the Rain Palace were all dead. Zhou Ming was the strongest cultivator below the spirit-severing realm in the outer endless sea. Chapter 215. When Ning Fan appeared in the sky above the Black Tortoise City, the entire city fell into silence. The sea breeze was slightly salty, but it could not blow away the faint smell of blood. The evil chi turned into traces of red light that flickered on his body. Under his gaze, all the cultivators in the city did not dare to make a sound. An invisible demonic aura made many old monsters gulp down their saliva. Zhou Ming. This person killed the 3 tower masters of the Lost World Palace alone. None of the 3 peak nascent soul realm cultivators survived. The strongest cultivator below the divine transformation realm. This person truly deserved this title. Disperse. Ning Fan's indifferent voice resonated with heaven and earth. Immediately, all the cultivators cupped their fists towards the sky and dispersed. The bustling cultivation city became empty and the streets were lonely because of Ning Fan's words. Ning Fan closed his eyes and the indifference in his eyes faded away. This feeling was very good. With his current strength, there was probably no one who would dare to cause trouble for him in the endless sea anymore. This was a kind of devil might. It was much more practical compared to those young masters of powerful sects who raised their signboards to show off their background. Endless Sea, Tomb of Cultivators. Background and face were all superficial. Strength and devil might were the only thing that could guarantee one's freedom. He landed on the ground beside the female corpse. When the female corpse saw Ning Fan's pale face, her calm eyes immediately reached out her cold hand and touched his cheek. But injuries? I'm fine. It's just a small injury. Let's go. I've helped the Lost World Palace to get rid of 3 hidden troubles. If that Lu Qing doesn't reward me generously, it won't be right. Ning Fan smiled and held the female corpse's delicate hand. They walked on the empty street. Lost World Palace, Southern Pill Tower. Mo Yun's expression was extremely complicated. As for the old ancestor, Yu Long, he felt somewhat restless. 27 Third Revolution Pill Masters and 5 Fourth Revolution Pill Masters were silent. The atmosphere was heavy. After the news of the destruction of the Life Jades and the death of the 3 Tower Masters spread, the topic of how to deal with the murderer, Zhou Ming, immediately became the topic of discussion. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Lu Qing did not stop the fight from beginning to end. From his standpoint, it was obvious that he had the intention to kill Zhou Ming with a borrowed knife. In other words, the 3 Tower Masters were killed by Zhou Ming on the surface. However, Lu Qing had instigated and pushed him to do so in the dark. Since killing was Lu Qing's idea, not only was Zhou Ming not at fault, but he had also done a meritorious deed. However, such a meritorious deed could not be rewarded openly. It was obvious that the people of the Lost World Palace were killed. If Lu Qing were to reward them, the reputation of the Lost World Palace would be tarnished and spread far and wide. Colluding with an external devil and plotting to kill an alchemist from his own clan just because the alchemist had ulterior motives. This was not a good name. Since he couldn't be rewarded, he couldn't be punished either. Zhou Ming had fought against 3 nascent soul realm experts by himself and killed 3 nascent soul realm experts. This achievement could be said to be the first person below the divine transformation realm. With such strength, perhaps even an early divine transformation realm expert might not be able to take him down. If they couldn't capture him, then they would offend this person and provoke a demon that killed without any scruples. It wasn't worth it, it wasn't worth it. This man is a madman. Wherever he goes, there will be a sea of blood. The killing at the Hill of Death, the killing at the Pill Cauldron Gate, and the killing at the Black Tortoise City. Some of the more observant people even discovered that on the day when the 7th elder of the Demon Sealing Sect, Ying He, died, Zhou Ming had rushed out of the island. From the looks of it, the 7th elder of the Demon Sealing Sect was most likely killed by this man. As the saying goes, it's better to cut off 1 finger than to injure 10 of the enemy's fingers. With the strength of the Lost World Palace in the external Endless Sea, if they couldn't capture Zhou Ming and kill him, it would be unwise to offend him. Therefore, all the old monsters decided to remain silent during the meeting to deal with Zhou Ming. On this kind of question, a single wrong word could cause a great disaster for oneself. None of them were fools. Lu Qing was sipping on the fragrant tea while tapping on the jade table with his fingers. His expression was calm and composed. However, the rapid tapping of his fingers indicated that his heart was not calm at all. He didn't have the intention to capture or kill Zhou Ming. He was just considering what benefits he should give Zhou Ming in private. Lu Qing felt a slight headache when he recalled the time when Zhou Ming deliberately displayed 2 types of earth vein demonic flames in the Black Tortoise City. From an outsider's point of view, Zhou Ming's action was a show of strength to the 3 Tower Masters. However, given Zhou Ming's character, he would never reveal his trump card before a battle. His earth vein demonic flame was for Lu Qing to see. He was hinting to Lu Qing that he could devour 2 types of earth vein demonic flames and that he had his eyes on the green phoenix flame. Troublesome, yes, it was indeed troublesome. If Zhou Ming's strength was only enough to kill Bai He alone, Lu Qing would only value him because of his 5th revolution pill refinement technique. According to his understanding of pill refinement masters, giving him a few 5th revolution pill refinement techniques would be enough to send him away. However, Zhou Ming killed 3 of them alone. Moreover, the battle ended very quickly and did not even take too much time. Lu Qing knew that even he himself could not match up to Zhou Ming's strength and speed of killing his enemies. Zhou Ming's strength was unfathomable. Even Lu Qing would not dare to ignore the fact that he wanted the green phoenix flame. From the looks of it, his so-called killing with a borrowed knife plan was actually a silver tiger killing a wolf. 3 tower masters who coveted the green phoenix flame died, but Zhou Ming came. This is troublesome. Lu Qing's gaze shifted to Bei Xiaoman. He could not help but smile bitterly when he saw her eating melon seeds in annoyance. My lady, how do you think we should treat Zhou Ming? Treat him, not punish him? Even though Lu Qing was conflicted on how to befriend Ning Fan, his intention of befriending him did not waver. He did not have any intention of going against Ning Fan. What a joke! Putting aside Ning Fan's strength, his pill refinement technique had already reached the 5th revolution. A 5th revolution pill refinement master could concoct pills that could raise a spirit-severing realm cultivator's cultivation base. Lu Qing might even need to ask Ning Fan for pills. Although there were more than 10 5th revolution pill masters in the Lost World Palace, almost all of them were from the Rain Palace. Apart from the times when they needed to cultivate in the Lost World Tower, they would never enter the Endless Sea in the rest of the time. Ning Fan was the only 5th revolution pill refinement master that he, Lu Qing, could see and touch. I must befriend him. But the problem is, how should I befriend him? What's the trouble? Just kill him. Even though I'm happy that he killed those 3 old men, I really hate that Zhou Ming. Lu Qing, you'll be responsible for killing him. Pooh. Lu Qing spurted out a mouthful of tea and shook his head with a bitter smile. As expected of the young miss, she did as she pleased and did not consider the pros and cons at all. Miss thinks too highly of me. Let alone the fact that I can't kill Zhou Ming, even if I can. Killing a 5th revolution pill master would secretly offend many divine transformation realm experts. The rallying power of a 5th revolution pill master could be said to be terrifying. There was once a mid-divine transformation realm devil cultivator who defiled a woman. Unexpectedly, that woman turned out to be a concubine of a 5th revolution pill master who was extremely fond of her. As a result, that pill master was infuriated and promised to give him a pill if he killed her. If a peak stage nascent soul cultivator were to help, he would be given a separation and reunion pill that could increase his chances of reaching the soul formation stage. If an early stage soul formation cultivator helps, he will receive 10 primordial armor pills to increase his early stage cultivation. Those who were at the middle stage would be given a spirit illumination pill. After consuming this pill, there was a 10% chance of comprehending one's own divine decree. On that day, that 5th revolution pill master led 100 peak nascent soul formation realm cultivators, 11 early divine transformation realm cultivators and 3 mid-divine transformation realm cultivators to surround that devil cultivator and massacre him. Lu Qing did not know how powerful Ning Fan's background was. However, he could imagine that if he offends Ning Fan recklessly, most of the divine transformation realm cultivators would be willing to kill him for his sake. As such, unless Lu Qing was an idiot, he would never provoke Ning Fan. In fact, he even wanted to be one of the divine transformation realm cultivators who fawned on Ning Fan. However, Bei Xiaoman was different. She had a high status. She would not stand anyone she disliked. Be it a divine transformation realm cultivator or a void refinement realm cultivator, she would dare to step on anyone's face. Miss, don't forget that even with your status, you can't do anything to Zhou Ming. Lu Qing made a 5-hand gesture and Bei Xiaoman's face immediately turned red. Not bad, not bad. He is a 5th revolution pill master. Even I have been warned by my mother not to offend a 5th revolution pill master in the lower world, but that Zhou Ming is really too despicable. I don't care about this anymore. In short, you can do whatever you want. However, I will never give him the green wand flame. Bei Xiaoman could see through Lu Qing's thoughts. She harumphed twice and left. At this moment, 2 silent figures gently appeared in the southern tower. They were a man and a woman. The woman was the female corpse and the man was Ning Fan. Miss Bei, it seems like you have a lot of complaints against me. However, I don't think I have offended you. On the contrary, there was a time when I was pampering my concubine and you peeped at me through the window. You saw my naked body and caused me to suffer a great loss. It seems like you have yet to compensate me for that. Pooh! Who wants to peep at you? You even suffered a loss with that small body of yours? As soon as Bei Xiaoman saw Ning Fan, she was infuriated and spat on the ground. Little did she know that her words caused the elders of the Lost World Palace to suck in a cold breath. Miss actually peeped at Zhou Ming's bedroom. Could it be that Miss likes Zhou Ming? That's right. Occasionally, when Miss was alone, she would curse and swear at Zhou Ming. This is bad. This is really bad. The noble fourth Miss of the upper world who was pursued by countless true immortals actually fell in love with a cultivator from the lower world. No, even if she didn't fall in love with him, Bei Xiaoman had seen Ning Fan's naked body. This matter would definitely affect Mrs. Purity. As the fourth Miss of the Lost World Palace, the strongest force in the Northern Sea immortal world, if Bei Xiaoman lost her purity, even he, Lu Qing, would lose his head. Miss, you can't speak nonsense, so what if I say it? I saw his naked body. He is shameless, perverted and shameless. Why can't I say it? Of course I can't say it. He's a man and you're a woman. He can be shameless but you can't lose your purity. Lu Qing complained incessantly. Bei Xiaoman's personality was quite shrewish. She didn't care about her purity at all. However, Lu Qing and the others couldn't bear such a heavy responsibility. This unexpected development caught Lu Qing off guard. In order to conceal the fact that his mistress had lost her chastity, as long as he could seal Ning Fan's mouth, not to mention the green phoenix flame, he, Lu Qing, was even willing to give up the tower master of the central tower to Ning Fan. The female corpse was at a loss. She did not understand why the humans around her were panicking. As for Ning Fan, the corner of his mouth curved into an inexplicable smile. He said it on purpose. Next, I have something to discuss with Tower Lord Lu and Miss Bei. Those who have nothing to do with me should leave now in case they hear something even worse. All of you leave. Lu Qing sighed. If he knew that Ning Fan would reveal such erotic news as soon as he arrived, he would definitely not let Mo Yun and the others stay here. You still owe me a mental seal. Don't forget. Ning Fan pointed at Yu Long with a faint smile. Old ancestor Yu Long immediately shuddered. His hair stood on end and he nodded in agreement. How would I, Yu Long, dare to disobey venerated Ming's order? It's really my fortune to be able to be venerated Ming's slave. My fortune. I beg venerated Ming to spare my life. Yu Long had killed many people in his life. When had he ever behaved so humbly before? This sentence had used up all the flattering words he had used up in his entire life. He had no choice. Zhou Ming's devil might was too terrifying. It made Lu Qing feel helpless and his miss feel annoyed. He begged his father and grandmother not to offend this person. If I become his slave, then so be it. Chapter 216. After everyone left, Lu Qing felt uneasy. He was afraid that Ning Fan would reveal more shocking information that would embarrass his mistress. However, his mistress seemed to be fine. He was a spirit-severing realm old monster after all. Even though he was worried, his expression remained calm. With a faint smile, he waved his sleeves and brewed some spiritual tea for Ning Fan and the female corpse. Fellow Taoist Zhou Ming, please have some tea. The spiritual mist as the water and 10,000-year-old jade conch as the leaves. A sip can increase one's magic power by half a year. Ning Fan savored the tea carefully. The female corpse took a sip and immediately frowned. Hot, I'm not afraid. Ning Fan flicked his finger and produced heavenly frost. When the tea came into contact with the cold qi, it immediately cooled down. The female corpse no longer felt hot. This move caused Lu Qing to be inwardly shocked. If he was not mistaken, that cold qi should be the heavenly frost cold qi, pine cold marrow and bone prison qi. This Zhou Ming actually possesses two types of heavenly frost cold qi. Moreover, the 5th grade cold qi that was hard to obtain at the spirit-severing realm was used to cool a woman's tea. Nascent soul realm cultivators could use the 5 elemental techniques to devour spiritual fire and cold qi at the same time. However, the heavenly frost earth fire was an exception. It was impossible for nascent soul realm cultivators to devour spiritual fire and cold chi when they reached the 5th grade. Even spirit-severing realm cultivators had to be careful and use their cultivation techniques to restrain themselves. This young man is truly unfathomable. Lu Qing knew that it was not difficult for him to devour one type of earth vein demonic fire since he cultivated a spirit-severing realm fire element cultivation technique. However, it would be dangerous to devour the second type of heavenly frost cold chi. As for Bei Xiaoman, she let out a soft humph. Obviously, she was not used to Ning Fan's acting. Who is he acting for? Why would the dignified great devil Zhou Ming be so gentle as to give a woman iced tea? Humph. He's just trying to deceive the woman and win her heart. Then he will make love to her and make love to her in bed. Shameless and perverted. I, Bei Xiaoman, can see through your little trick with just a glance. Men are like this. Mother has taught me. Lu Qing valued Ning Fan more while Bei Xiaoman looked down on him even more. Chuckling, Lu Qing poured another cup of spirit tea for the two of them and changed the topic. A straightforward person doesn't beat around the bush. This old man is very grateful that fellow Taoist Zhou was able to eliminate Bei He and the other two. I heard that fellow Taoist Zhou wants to become the guest pill master of the Lost World Palace. It's an easy task. You can even become the tower master of the 3 pagodas with just a word from me. Fellow Taoist should know what kind of treatment you will receive if you become the tower master, right? Of course I do. Once I become the pagoda master, I will be able to use any spirit herbs below 5,000 years old. Even if it's 10,000 years old, I will be able to obtain 10 stalks of it every year. Apart from that, all pill formulas below the 5th revolution in the Lost World Palace could be read and imprinted at will. If you need elixirs, you can post a mission in the palace. Ning Fan took a sip of his tea and said with a smile. If it wasn't for the generous treatment, I wouldn't have killed 3 of them alone and occupied the 3 pagodas. Fellow Taoist Zhou, you must be joking. Even if you didn't kill the 3 tower masters, with your identity as a 5th revolution pill master, you can easily become the tower master of the 3 pagodas with just a word from me. This is an easy task. In fact, if fellow Taoist Zhou has more requests for the Lost World Palace, it's not impossible for me to do so. I only have one request. Fellow Taoist Zhou, please don't spread the news that my mistress's innocence, Wanli. Of course, I will make the others shut their mouths. If fellow Taoist Zhou agrees to this request, not to mention the tower master of the 3 pagodas, even the green phoenix flame. When he mentioned the green phoenix flame, Lu Qing's eyes revealed a hint of struggle. However, he gritted his teeth and said, even if it's the green phoenix flame, this old man can also give it to you. Really? Not a single lie. Bei Xiaoman's heart was filled with dissatisfaction when she saw that the two of them were about to finish their discussion in just a few sentences. Why? Why should this shameless Zhou Ming be the tower master of the 3 pagodas? I, Bei Xiaoman, the dignified 4th mistress of the northern heaven, only have 1 pagoda. Why? Why should I give him the green phoenix flame? Even though I don't need it, I can give it to anyone but Zhou Ming. Bei Xiaoman's petite body slammed the table and rose to her feet. Lu Qing, step down. I will deal with this matter. Lu Qing was confused. It took me a lot of effort to seal Ning Fan's mouth with a huge reward. Why is it that my mistress is going to cause trouble again? Does my mistress not understand that I even gave him the green phoenix flame for the sake of my mistress's innocence? Lu Qing, I'm asking you to get out. Get out. Yes. Lu Qing was a dignified divine transformation realm expert and a supreme being of the external endless sea. He had no choice but to be polite in front of Ning Fan. He did not even dare to talk back in front of Bei Xiaoman. He sighed. My mistress should have a divine transformation realm puppet protecting her. That puppet is more powerful than me. Of course, I don't need to worry about my mistress's safety. The only thing I need to worry about is if my mistress is foolish enough to offend Ning Fan again. However, he did not know that Bei Xiaoman's divine transformation realm bodyguard, Shi Bing, had already become Ning Fan's prisoner. With a bitter smile, Lu Qing took out a jade token and passed it to Ning Fan. Then he cupped his fists and left. Before he left, he transmitted his voice to Ning Fan. Fellow Taoist Zhou, if my mistress has offended you, please forgive her. This jade token is my token. Even if you haven't become the Tower Master yet, you can still use the medicine vault of my Xianwu city and enter the pill pavilion to read the pill recipes. As for the green phoenix flame, I will think of a way to give it to you after my mistress's anger has subsided. So, I hope that you can. Don't worry. I won't be calculative with a little girl. If that's the case, thank you. Bei Xiaoman did not know that her unruly behavior had already been branded as an unreasonable little girl in the eyes of Lu Qing and Zhou Ming. After Lu Qing left, she still had that arrogant and bossy look on her face. Every night, she would be tortured by her heart devil. She would dream of Ning Fan coming to her naked body with his despicable hands, humiliating her. Unless her Tao heart is healed, this heart devil nightmare would continue to haunt her. Under such torment, it was not surprising that Bei Xiaoman had such a resentful attitude towards Ning Fan. Zhou Ming, don't you want the green phoenix flame? Come. Bei Xiaoman walked towards the top of the tower. Her eyes were filled with shame and resentment. Ning Fan activated the yin-yang locket and used the mind-reading technique to hear her inner voice. Bei Xiaoman, you want the green phoenix flame? No way. When I return to my palace, I will use the Yuan Yao jade that my mother gave me to lock you in the Yuan Yao world. Even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, you won't be able to escape once you enter the world. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with shock. This Bei Xiaoman is really ruthless. She actually has a world treasure. She wants to lock me up. The worst type of spatial magical treasure would be the storage pouch. It could only store things but not living things. The slightly better type would be the demon storage pouch. It could store living beasts but only demons could enter it. Humans couldn't. The higher grade would be the heavenly abode magical treasure. It could open up its own heavenly abode. However, such magical treasures usually had some drawbacks. Either the space of the magical treasure was too small or there was no spiritual qi in it, making it impossible to cultivate. Or, for example, the cauldron ring. The red mist was a heaven-defying cultivation speed for women. The layers of intersecting spaces within it could store an unlimited number of people. However, the drawback was that the owner of the magical treasure could not enter the space with his or her physical body. On the other hand, the heavenly abode magical treasure could erase all its flaws. It could be used for cultivation and it could store an unlimited amount of space. It was called a world treasure. For example, the yin-yang locket had heaven-defying abilities. It also came with a magical treasure space called the Profound Yin World. The space was so powerful that even Luo Yu wouldn't be able to escape from it. Right now, Bei Xiaoman also had a type of world treasure, Yuan Yao Jade. This woman really can't be underestimated. If I didn't use the mind-reading technique to eavesdrop on her, I wouldn't know that she had a supreme treasure and wanted to harm me. What an unruly woman. Ning Fan thought that if he was locked up in the Yuan Yao world by Bei Xiaoman, it would be difficult for him to escape. This woman had tried to harm me several times. It seemed like it was time to punish her. Crushing her Tao heart didn't seem to be enough. Although I promised Stone Warrior that I wouldn't hurt this girl and would protect her once, there are plenty of ways to make her tremble in fear without taking her life in the yin-yang transformation. He sneered inwardly, but his expression did not change. He stood up and said to the female corpse, "Weiliang, let's go, light? Be careful." The female corpse could faintly sense an extremely terrifying aura from Bei Xiaoman's body. It was even scarier than an early spirit-severing realm cultivator. She was the descendant of an immemorial divine vein. Moreover, she was the descendant of one of the best divine veins in the 4 heavens. Even though she was only at the peak nascent soul realm, her combat power was probably not weaker than a spirit-severing realm cultivator. Don't be afraid. She is a woman. She will never be my match. Bei Xiaoman, who had just pushed the door open, heard the conversation between Ning Fan and the female corpse. She immediately stomped her feet in anger and embarrassment. "Zhou Ming, don't you dare be so arrogant. You will have the chance to beg me when you are locked up in the Yuan Yao world. I will definitely castrate you." Even if Stone Warrior isn't here, I alone am enough. For so many years, I've been like this. Bei Xiaoman's small face turned slightly pale. She felt a little dizzy and her blood and qi were in a mess. He's here again. Wait until I've dealt with that detestable Zhou Ming. She forcefully suppressed her chaotic blood and qi. After her Dao heart was shattered, her Gui vein was damaged. It left behind a sequela. It was a terrifying sequela for a woman. Chapter 217. Bei Xiaoman's hands were clasped behind her back. From her back, she looked like a 13 or 14-year-old girl. Her curves were tender and immature. Her fine black hair gave off a faint fragrance. It was clearly the fragrance of a virgin, like the scent of a rose. A rose with thorns? How is this a cute girl? She was clearly a ruthless and unruly princess. Ning Fan did not think much of it. This woman is cruel and merciless. It doesn't matter. In order to survive in the endless sea, what's the big deal about being a little cruel? But this woman shouldn't have provoked him. He pondered in his heart. The reason he came to the Lost World Palace this time was to fulfill his promise to Stone Warrior and make him swear loyalty to him. Although there were complications, there were still many benefits to becoming the master of the 3 pagodas. He was very interested in the recipe of the Lost World Palace's 5th revolution pill. For example, the separation and reunion pill, which could increase the success rate of attaining the divine transformation realm, and the primordial armor pill, which could increase the strength of an early divine transformation realm cultivator, were all pills that Ning Fan would need in the future. There was no pill formula. As for the pill refinement techniques above the 5th revolution, Ning Fan still needed to explore them by himself. The help of ancient chaos's memories was getting smaller and smaller. Even after breaking through to the void fragmentation realm, the help it provided would be close to 0. At that time, he could only rely on himself. When Bei Xiaoman was born, she was bestowed with a divine transformation realm puppet, a world treasure jade, a top-grade cultivation technique, countless medicinal pills, and a status that stood above all others. However, Ning Fan was not afraid of such superiority. Putting aside the Yin plucking finger, Ning Fan did not think that he would lose to Bei Xiaoman. Although this woman had killed many people, she probably didn't have many real life and death battles. Southern Tower, Inner Palace. The Inner Palace was in a mess. Broken porcelain could be seen on the ground. It seemed like Bei Xiaoman had a fit. Unlike the last time he was here, he did not see any maidservants. Miss Bei's servants don't seem to be here. I killed them all. What, do you have a problem with that? Bei Xiaoman's crisp voice was as cold as ice. However, although her words were fierce, the words in her heart were like this. Bei Xiaoman, it's all your fault. My Gui star murderous energy is constantly out of control. In order to avoid indiscriminately killing servants, I have already dispersed it. It was so dirty and messy, and there was no one to clean it up. How could anyone live in it? It's all your fault, Zhou Ming. After I catch you, I'll definitely teach you a good lesson. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. It was as if he had gotten to know Bei Xiaoman all over again. He never expected that this woman would also have moments where she would be gentle to her subordinates. However, when Bei Xiaoman halted her footsteps, Ning Fan held the female corpse's small hand and maintained a distance of 10 zhang away from her. 10 zhang was a safe distance. There was a danger of being taken away by the dimensional treasure within 100 feet. Seeing that Ning Fan was deliberately keeping a distance from her, Bei Xiaoman was inwardly stunned. She thought to herself, could it be that this Zhou Ming has noticed something? When she took a step closer to him, Ning Fan immediately took a step back while holding the female corpse's hand. As they advanced and retreated, they were still separated by 100 feet. Zhou Ming, I didn't think that you would be so cowardly despite your ferocious appearance. Are you afraid that I'll eat you? Why are you hiding so far away? Indeed, I'm a little afraid. A lustful person like Miss Bei first peeped on me and my concubine's room. Then she led me, a man, into Miss Bei's room. I'm afraid that if I'm not careful, I might fall into Miss Bei's trap and be violated by Miss Bei and lose my virginity. Who wants to violate you? You smell so good. Bei Xiaoman clenched her fists tightly. If it wasn't because she wanted to be closer to Ning Fan and keep him in the Yuan Yao world, she would not even bother to talk to him. There was a requirement for a dimensional treasure to capture someone. If the magic power of the owner of the treasure was much stronger than the enemy, they could easily capture the enemy even if they were far away from each other. However, if both parties had similar strength, it would not be easy for the dimensional treasure to capture the person. It would be fine if the other party was not on guard against it. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for the dimensional treasure to capture the person. Bei Xiaoman knew that Ning Fan was arrogant and careless. She took out a red jade ring on her hand and it glowed faintly. Zhang. As the dignified descendant of the Gui vein and a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, she should have a high chance of capturing a nascent soul realm Ning Fan. Even if she fails to capture him, it would be a piece of cake for her to take him down with her own means. Even Bei Xiaoman herself did not realize that if it was her previous self, she would have directly attacked Ning Fan with her fists and forcefully captured him. Now, however, she secretly launched a sneak attack on Ning Fan. Unknowingly, she had become extremely wary of him. She hadn't realized this yet. Bei Xiaoman raised her hand and looked at Ning Fan proudly. Then she giggled. "Zhou Ming, do you really want the green phoenix flame? I'm not going to give it to you." "Miss Bei, isn't it a little unwise for you to insist on going against me?" Ning Fan's eyes flashed with hostility. Bei Xiaoman's heart immediately trembled and she took a few steps back. She was secretly shocked. This Zhou Ming has such a strong hostility. The great devil lord Zhou really lives up to his name. However, how did he know that I'm going to deal with him? He saw through it? That's right. Why do I insist on going against him? He is a 5th revolution pill master. My mother told me to befriend him. He has the immemorial devil vein. Even though I don't know what kind of immemorial devil vein it is, he seems to be the best candidate for the 9 worlds since he is a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. I haven't even given a single place to anyone. Isn't it better to give it to him? Why do I still want to deal with him? Why? Is it just to increase my Gui star killing chi? Is it just to destroy my Dao heart? My body is obviously weak and I can't even bear to lie in bed. Why did I get so excited when I heard that Zhou Ming was going to fight the 3 Tower Masters? I don't understand. In short, he is very hateful. Bei Xiaoman gritted her teeth. She did not know that her thoughts were all seen by Ning Fan through the yin-yang locket. Bei Xiaoman might not understand why she always went against Ning Fan, but Ning Fan could see through it. This Bei Xiaoman seems to like me a little. Of course, it's not quite right to say that she likes me. It should be a good impression towards someone who also practices the Tao of slaughter. However, I don't know how to express this good impression, but it was misinterpreted as a tit for tat. Interesting. The current Ning Fan's killing intent was gone. His eyes were unscrupulously staring at Bei Xiaoman's delicate body. His unrestrained gaze immediately caused Bei Xiaoman's face to turn red. She kept her initial intention of using the Yuan Yao jade and scolded him. What are you looking at? What's there to look at? There's indeed nothing to look at. However, the blood jade ring in your hand seems to be a good magical treasure. It's called Yuan Yao jade, right? How did you know? Bei Xiaoman's mind was in a mess. It was the expression of someone whose scheme was seen through. When she thought about how her plan to capture Ning Fan with the Yuan Yao jade was exposed, she felt slightly embarrassed and angry. Without hesitation, she raised her hand. The blood jade ring flashed and a trace of world power swept towards Ning Fan and the female corpse. However, Ning Fan secretly activated the yin-yang locket and used a world treasure to fight against another world treasure. The world power swept towards him, but it did not move him at all. Not to mention capturing him into another space. How can this be? Yuan Yao jade keep... She waved her hand again. However, when the world power swept past Ning Fan, she still could not capture him. On the other hand, the female corpse was almost taken away by the world power. However, Ning Fan held her hand and kept her. If she was fearful of Ning Fan before this, she did not realize it. Now, her vigilance towards Ning Fan had risen to an unprecedented level. I know. So, you also have a world treasure. It's rare for someone from the lower world to possess a heavenly dwelling magical treasure. I didn't expect you to have one. But I still have other. But before she could finish her words, her body swayed and she lost her balance. She almost fell to the ground. Even though she managed to stabilize her body, her face quickly turned pale. Moreover, the air was filled with a faint but sweet smell of blood. Looking at Bei Xiaoman, who lost her balance, Ning Fan seemed to have understood something. Immediately, his expression turned strange. Interesting. I didn't expect that as a cultivator, you actually have… Don't say it. Don't look… Despicable. Despicable. Shameless. Why does it have to be at this moment? Her strength seemed to have been sucked dry. The smell of blood came from below her skirt, between her thighs. She knew that the Yuan Yao Jade was useless against Ning Fan. However, she thought that it would be easy for her to capture Ning Fan with her Gui Vein ability. Unexpectedly, it had to be at this moment, but I can't lose. I can't let Ning Fan continue to smile proudly. That smile was too hateful. It was even more hateful than Ning Fan destroying her Dao heart. Gui technique, 7 kills. Body technique, rose step. Bei Xiaoman seemed to be barely able to form a hand seal. In the inner palace, 7 blood-red stars emerged and connected with the Big Dipper. Then, a ray of blood-red light fell from the sky and went into her feet. In a flash, she leaped into the sky and kicked Ning Fan's face. This kick was the body refinement realm of the 3rd realm of Silverbone. It was fused with the Gui Vein ability, the 7 kills technique. The strength of this kick was so fast that it could not be seen. It could even break a peak supreme grade magical treasure. However, even though the aura of the battle was strong, it did not spread to the outside world because of the formation in the inner palace. It seemed like Bei Xiaoman was worried that Lu Qin would stop her attack on Ning Fan. That was why she isolated the ripples of the battle. When this kick arrived in front of Ning Fan, it felt as if 1,000 stars were going to shatter. However, Ning Fan's eyes were indifferent. He remained unmoved and gently stretched out his palm. Silver light shone brightly and casually blocked the kick in front of her feet. Then, he sent out more than 10 palm strikes to disperse the immense force that was enough to shatter a magical treasure. As for Bei Xiaoman, her face was filled with shock. Ning Fan's attack was obviously at the half-step Jade Life body refinement realm. Moreover, the 10 palm strikes that he sent out were obviously the embodiment of his precise control of strength. If the force was a little weaker, he would certainly be injured by this kick. If the force was a little stronger, the bones of Bei Xiaoman's feet would be crushed by Ning Fan's terrifying strength. How could this be? You're just a person from the mortal world. How could your body refinement realm be higher than mine? How could you show mercy to me? Damn it. Damn it. She cried out in pain again. That kick had triggered the blood qi of her Gui vein, causing her blood and qi to go out of control. It turns out that this Zhou Ming is actually so powerful. Even if I'm at my peak, I can only be on par with him. However, if her attack was blocked by Ning Fan under normal conditions, she would admit defeat even though she was unruly. Unfortunately, her blood and qi were in a mess right now and she was at her weakest. It was obvious that Ning Fan was showing mercy to her. She couldn't accept it. She couldn't accept it. Looking at Ning Fan's calm smile, it was as if he was silently humiliating her. It was as if he was mocking her. As the descendant of the 4 heavens, she only had this little bit of cultivation. Bei Xiaoman's heart suddenly felt a little wronged. She gritted her teeth and tried to withdraw her long and jade-like leg. However, Ning Fan turned his palm into a claw and grabbed her ankle. With a tug, Bei Xiaoman's body that had lost all of her strength was pulled into his arms. The dignified 4th princess of the Northern Sea immortal world was held in Ning Fan's arms in a domineering manner. However, at this moment, Bei Xiaoman did not even have the slightest bit of strength left. She struggled and gently pushed Ning Fan's chest with her small hands. However, Ning Fan tightened his grip on her. Not to mention pushing Ning Fan away, it was extremely difficult for her to even stand. Moreover, if Ning Fan let go of her now, she would definitely fall to the ground. If Ning Fan didn't grab her earlier, she would most likely be sent flying by the rebounding force. Perhaps she would fall to the ground in a sorry state. "What do you want to do to me?" Bei Xiaoman's face was abnormally red. Her blood and chi were in a mess. Her face that was as tender as a 13 or 14-year-old girl was now filled with despair as if she had seen through everything. "As expected, you're going to defile me. My nightmare has come true." She opened her small mouth and used the last bit of her strength to bite Ningfan's shoulder. However, because her strength was too weak, it was more like a flirting between lovers. "Pluck you? Bei Xiaoman, you think too highly of yourself. A peak nascent soul realm cauldron only has 30 units of magical power. Compared to this, I am more worried that I will break my promise. I didn't expect that all the female cultivators in the world would stop their menstruation once they reach the harmonious spirit realm. However, you still have your period? If it wasn't for the fact that plucking you right now will harm your life and make me break my promise, I would really like to have a taste of a young girl who has her period." Ning Fan half teased and half smiled bitterly. After witnessing the truth, he had no choice but to stop his original plan of plucking. Troublesome, really troublesome, because under Bei Xiaoman's sexy short skirt and silk stockings, traces of red blood were flowing down her fair and tender thighs. This was very common in the mortal world, but it was rare in the cultivation world, a woman's period. This Bei Xiaoman is having her period. Normal female cultivators would not have their period. Period was also known as the Gui event, and the red tide was also known as the Gui water. Unfortunately, Bei Xiaoman cultivated the Gui divine vein, which was extremely yin and extremely murderous. She could be considered as a weirdo among the female cultivators in the cultivation world. This feeling of having an unfair advantage made Ning Fan feel gloomy. The feeling of not being able to pluck the excellent cauldron in his arms made him even more gloomy. The Gui divine vein could only be cultivated by women with special physiques. Every time this vein broke through to the next realm, it would be a nightmare for female cultivators. They must not get hurt or see blood. Once blood was seen, the wound would bleed non-stop. That was why Ning Fan could not pluck this woman. The virgin blood would be drained and Bei Xiaoman would die of exhaustion. Ning Fan could take her virginity and primordial yin, and he was confident that no one would know about it. However, if he harmed her life, it would be hard to hide it. The Northern Sea immortal world would send countless true immortals down to the mortal world. As such, he could not let this woman die so easily. "Let go of me." Bei Xiaoman was in Ning Fan's arms. Her flat chest was pressed against Ning Fan's chest. It made her feel so ashamed that she wanted to die. "You should learn to face it." The female corpse blinked her eyes curiously and joined in. Ning Fan sighed softly. "I probably have to be kind and help this woman to stop her bleeding. It's better this way. I might as well record the process of stopping the bleeding with a jade slip. With this jade slip, even if I don't pluck Bei Xiaoman, this woman's chastity would still be in my hands. It seems a little despicable." Whale Young, watch the door. "Don't let anyone in, all right?" The female corpse stood at the door with an expression that said, "Whoever enters will die." In front of Bei Xiaoman's incredulous eyes, Ning Fan threw her on the bed. What made her feel lucky was that Ning Fan did not pluck her like what he did in her dream. What made her feel ashamed and angry was that Ning Fan's hand was caressing her legs that were covered with silk stockings and went under her skirt. Bei Xiaoman felt a chill in her heart. Her eyes were filled with fear. She wanted to use her elemental hand to stop it, but it was impossible. Her chest that was as flat as a grassland was not worth admiring at all. However, her slender legs were the place that she was proud of. If this place was touched by a man, it would be a great humiliation. "Shameless. Don't look. Stop. Don't make a fuss. I'm just helping you to stop the bleeding. You're having your period. If I don't stop the bleeding, you'll die." Ning Fan's expression was indifferent, as if he had no interest in Bei Xiaoman's flat chest or her slender legs. Probably, and this indifferent gaze, in this kind of environment, was undoubtedly extremely hurtful. "Zhou Ming. You detestable. Don't make a fuss. I'm just stopping the bleeding." Ning Fan's technique was skillful. He pointed at Bei Xiaoman's lower abdomen and between her thighs. The blood of the Gui vein was not easy to control. Fortunately, menstruation was something that a woman should do. If it was other wounds, it would be much more troublesome. Bei Xiaoman was so angry that she was about to cry. She was the dignified fourth miss of the Northern Heaven, but her most private parts were touched by Ning Fan, who she hated the most. The most hateful thing was that Ning Fan placed a jade slip on the table, facing her direction. It seemed like he was using the jade slip to take pictures. Quickly turn off the jade slip. Don't take pictures. Isn't it good to keep something as a souvenir? If you provoke me again in the future, this jade slip will be announced to the world. If you stop me from obtaining the Green Phoenix fire again, this jade slip will also be announced to the world. How dare you? Bei Xiaoman cried. There are always people who love to ask me this question. Bei Xiaoman, with my personality, it's already rare enough for me to save you once. When we meet again in the future, it will be when I pluck you. Remember this well. Ning Fan kept his expression and did not say anything else. He had not done such a despicable, shameless, and evil thing for a long time. If you are obedient, this jade slip will be destroyed one day and Shi Bing will come back. Ning Fan said indifferently. What? Grandpa Shi Bing? It's you. What did you do to him? You don't need to know. I will tell you everything when you become my cauldron. No, the word was at the tip of her mouth, but she swallowed it back down. It was not that she did not want to say it, but after Ning Fan injected a trace of Yin plucking finger into her body, she could not speak anymore. She gradually fell asleep. How could this be? If I fall asleep, will I be eaten? Grandpa Shi Bing, where are you? Xiaoman misses you so much. Come and save me quickly. Stinky Zhou Ming, rotten Zhou Ming, you bully me. You always bully me. I hate you. Chapter 218. This short hour felt like a lifetime. Bei Xiaoman was drenched in sweat. Her flat chest heaved up and down gently. Half of it was because of the pain and the other half was because of Ning Fan's touch. It was just that this evil woman clenched her silver teeth and endured her delicate panting. Her small face was flushed red, but she couldn't stop herself from calling out. Painful, very painful. This was the menstrual cramps of the mortal world. After being amplified by the Gui Meridian, even Bei Xiaoman found it hard to endure. Numb and powerless. With her prideful personality, she felt like dying when her private parts were touched. Zhou. Evil. Her head was dizzy and she felt wronged as she held back her tears. However, she had to admit that Ning Fan's Tao of healing was extremely profound. Not every pill refinement master could be considered as a doctor. Doctors not only needed to know how to concoct pills and research medicines, but also needed to know acupuncture, massage, and many other miraculous techniques. The medical knowledge in ancient chaos memories was undoubtedly brilliant. The massage technique that was infused with the yin-yang transformation had countless mysterious techniques that could make a woman feel extremely comfortable during the massage. Ning Fan purposely did not stop the pain from Bei Xiaoman. He was only responsible for stopping the bleeding. Even though Bei Xiaoman was humiliated, she still clenched her teeth and refused to give in. Compared to Yu Long, Xiao Wanluo, and the other men, she could be considered as enduring patiently. Although this woman's character was fierce, her backbone was not bad. At the very least, this woman's face was pale from the pain and she was drenched in sweat, but she still did not beg for mercy. Seeing that Bei Xiaoman was on the verge of fainting from the pain, Ning Fan no longer punished her. With his cunning mind, he knew that she was just a spoiled princess. Everything she did was just a little girl messing around. That was all. If you beg me, I will help you relieve the pain. Ning Fan's magical force condensed into needles. Each of the silver needles pierced into her skin. They cleared the meridians and did not pierce through her skin at all. No! Bei Xiaoman's eyelashes were filled with tears, but she refused to yield. Very good. I like women who don't beg others. Bah, who wants you to, Bei Xiaoman still wanted to talk back, but Ning Fan had already used one finger to pluck her yin. The force of his finger once again entered her body. Electric currents coursed through her entire body. Her petite body trembled slightly. It was tense at first, but then it gradually softened. The pain gradually faded away. As for Bei Xiaoman, she felt as if she was floating in the clouds, comfortable and relaxed. The unnatural blush on her pretty face had already disappeared, and what replaced it was a blush of passion. Her pretty face was as red as a peach, her eyes were as clear as the autumn moon, and her breath was as fragrant as orchids. You're so annoying. I hate you. The unruly look in Bei Xiaoman's eyes slowly faded away, leaving only the passion of a young girl. Amidst the confusion, she stared at Ning Fan in a daze. Her heart was filled with grievances and resentment. Charm can stop the pain. Ning Fan did not explain much to her. Instead, he carefully observed her face. His gaze landed on Bei Xiaoman's body, causing her to feel ashamed, resentful, and fearful. She could not help but clamp her thighs together, rubbing them gently. Under the bewitching spell, her mind became more and more muddled. Grandpa Sherbing, you're lost? Xiaoman can't find you. Xiaoman misses you so much. Mother, Xiaoman doesn't want to cultivate the Gue Meridian. Xiaoman is afraid of blood and killing people. Zhou Ming. He's so strange. I can't see through him. He's clearly just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, but why is his killing intent so strong? Why is his body full of injuries? How did he manage to come to the cultivation tomb? How did he have the fifth revolution pill refinement technique? Why is he so calm? Why is my heart racing when I seduce him? He's willing to lower himself and wear shoes for me. He's very interesting. He bullied me and purposely showed me erotic things. He became my heart's devil and humiliated me in my dreams every night. Mother, Xiaoman hates Zhou Ming. The dazed Bei Xiaoman grabbed the blanket with one of her small hands, enduring the stimulation of the bewitching spell. Her other hand grabbed Ning Fan's hand and looked at him with a wronged expression. Mother, Xiaoman is so lonely. Ning Fan remained silent. The dazed Bei Xiaoman actually mistook him for his mother. This ferocious little girl could only be considered gentle at times like this. Her eyes were filled with fear, like a newborn kitten. Hug Xiaoman, and let's sleep, Cauldron Lady. Ning Fan's heart softened. Bei Xiaoman wasn't a bad person. It was just that her temperament was messed up after cultivating the gray vein. Bei Xiaoman was just a spoilt little princess, a child who missed her mother. It should be a happy thing to have mother here. I was born in this world and I should have parents. It's just that I've never met my parents before. It's really a regret in my life. A few hours later, Bei Xiaoman, who was in a daze, woke up in Ning Fan's arms. She was naked. At this moment, her actions were extremely ambiguous. Her back was facing Ning Fan's and her chest was tightly embraced by Ning Fan's arms. Her soft buttocks were pressed against Ning Fan's that. Fortunately, Ning Fan didn't take off her clothes and didn't pluck her. After confirming that her clothes were intact, she heaved a sigh of relief. But a moment later, her face turned red. Even though she didn't take off her clothes, her skirt and red silk were in a mess. One of her jade-like fingers was caressing her skirt, maintaining a provocative posture. Bei Xiaoman was going crazy. She actually violated herself when she was in a daze. In front of Zhou Ming. She violated herself. Her period had stopped, but the blood stained the hem of Ning Fan's robe. The bedsheet was stained with blood and stains. How could she, the dignified fourth lady of the northern sky, lose her composure like this? And in front of that hateful Zhou Ming, he saw the worst side of himself. Zhou Ming, take your filthy hands away. You despicable ant, maggot, cockroach, grasshopper, stinking scoundrel. You're awake? But which one is the dirty hand? Is it this side or this side? Ning Fan hugged Bei Xiaoman. His left hand was on her flat chest while his right hand was on her inner thigh. With a slight movement of his palm, Bei Xiaoman, whose body was exceptionally sensitive due to her previous misdeeds, immediately let out a soft moan. Immediately, half of her face turned red from anger, while the other half turned pale. Zhou Ming, don't go too far. Going too far? You're my human cauldron. The reason why I'm not plucking you now is because I'm afraid of hurting your Gue vein. Ning Fan withdrew his hand and took out a jade slip from his storage pouch. Immediately, Bei Xiaoman's arrogance that had just risen in her heart softened. Could this be? This is the recording of your absurd act just now. I've made 2 copies of it. I'll keep one for myself and give you the other one. Bei Xiaoman, who had slightly recovered her strength, pulled a thin blanket to cover her delicate body. Then she took the jade slip and sent her spirit sense into it. Immediately, her childish and crisp voice trembled. Is this me? How could I do such a shameful thing? I even recognized you as my mother and hid in your embrace. Zhou Ming, you're despicable. It's all because you used your bewitching technique to bewitch me. But the jade slip was crushed into pieces by Bei Xiaoman's small hand. However, the original copy was still kept by Ning Fan. If this jade slip is leaked to the public, Bei Xiaoman would be ruined. She did not care about her reputation, but she was a woman after all. How could she not care about something that was related to her innocence? The jade slip is in your hands. Grandpa Stone Soldier is also in your hands. It's good that you're not stupid. What do I have to do to make you let Stone Soldier go and destroy the jade slip? Bei Xiaoman said coldly. When the time is right, it will naturally be destroyed. After I attain the divine transformation realm, Stone Soldier will no longer be of use to me and I will return him. Bei Xiaoman, even though you're unruly and ruthless, I won't be too merciless towards my human cauldron. Who's your human cauldron? I'm just lying here. Do you still dare to pluck me? Do you want to try? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. No, I don't want to. Bei Xiaoman immediately gave in. She faintly felt that this Zhou Ming would do what he said. Even her mother might not be able to make her give in. However, she had no choice but to lower her head in front of Zhou Ming, who she hated the most. All right. Where's my storage pouch? Where's the Yuan Yao jade? Your storage pouch? I've taken 50 million immortal jade and some pills. I didn't touch the rest. As for the Yuan Yao jade, it's mine now. He returned the shriveled storage pouch to Bei Xiaoman. Immediately, Bei Xiaoman's temper flared up again. I can give you the immortal jade and pills, but you can't take the Yuan Yao jade. This item has a special meaning. Bei Xiaoman said anxiously. What meaning? I'm not telling you. In short, give it back to me. Ning Fan shook his head. There are some things that I will know even if you don't tell me. He activated the yin-yang locket and used the mind-reading technique. Immediately, he could see through Bei Xiaoman's thoughts. Other than being a world treasure that could open up a small kiliocosm, this jade was also the token of the 4 unmarried ladies of Bei Ming Heaven. With this jade, Bei Xiaoman would be considered as his woman. Interesting. This jade belongs to me now. Bei Xiaoman's heart thumped wildly. Half of it was because of anger and the other half was because of embarrassment. Ning Fan had seen and touched me completely. Isn't that the end? This person even took the Yuan Yao jade. If my mother finds out about this, I will have no choice but to marry him. What should I do? What should I do? All right, quickly change your clothes. Let's go out. If we don't go out now, I'm afraid that Lu Qing is going to barge in. Our ambiguous conversation seems to have gone on for a long time. Bei Xiaoman's scalp went numb when she thought that Lu Qing might barge in and break the awkward atmosphere between her and Ning Fan. My chastity cannot be ruined by Ning Fan's hands. Her entire body was shrunk in the thin quilt, only revealing her messy hair. She took off her blood-stained clothes. By the way, your legs are quite nice. They feel good too. Ning Fan suddenly said. He vaguely remembered that Mo Yun had said that such words could make Bei Xiaoman happy. Humph. Shameless. Bei Xiaoman retorted, but she was secretly pleased with herself. Humph humph. Great Devil Zhou has good eyes. My legs are the most beautiful, although my chest is flat. After a long time, Ning Fan took away the green phoenix fire under Bei Xiaoman's obedience. Lu Qing was waiting anxiously in the lower palace after he got down from the top of the tower. He thought that Miss and Zhou Ming's conversation was a little too long. He was enjoying the fragrant tea in his mouth, but his throat was tasteless. From his point of view, Mrs. Safety would not be in danger with the stone warrior puppet around. However, if Miss really fell in love with Zhou Ming and fell in love with him in the room, then he, Lu Qing, would probably lose his head. I don't think so. Miss might have a good impression of Zhou Ming, but with Miss's personality, she would never sleep with Zhou Mingxiang or have sex with him. I was overthinking. Lu Qing laughed mockingly at himself. How could he not know what kind of person his Miss was? Not to mention having sex with a man, even if a man looked at her for a second longer, she would kill him. While he was enjoying the tea, he saw Ning Fan, the female corpse, and Bei Xiaoman coming down from the tower. Lu Qing heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Miss was safe and sound. But at the next moment, his expression changed to one of fear. Her complexion was rosy and lustrous. In her eyes, there was still a trace of lust that had yet to disperse. It was as if she was a woman who had just had sex and obtained great satisfaction. Although her attitude towards Ning Fan was still cold, it was a lot more respectful. It was as if she was forcefully tamed. Could it be that Miss has been... No, it's impossible. I must be overthinking. When Lu Qing's gaze fell upon the blood jade ring on Ning Fan's right hand, he almost choked on the tea. Yuan Yao jade. Miss's betrothal gift. How did it fall into Zhou Ming's hands? Could it be that something unexpected really happened in the past few hours? Miss you and Zhou Ming? Lu Qing asked cautiously. How dare you? Zhou Ming and I didn't do anything. Bei Xiaoman's heart seemed to have been touched and she immediately rebuked. It's fine if I was bullied by Ning Fan, but now, even Lu Qing dares to step on my face. Damn it. Lu Qing's mind was struck by lightning and his heart was in turmoil. Nothing was done. Does that mean he did it? Over. Miss has been eaten by Zhou Ming. If the revered lord of the Lost World Palace finds out about this, I, Lu Qing, will definitely die. Poor supervision. Poor supervision. Using a jade slip to threaten others was not the right way. In the eyes of the evil Dao, it was considered a shameless act. But if the right way cannot be taken, then the opposite way must be taken. If the hard way cannot be taken, then the soft way must be taken. If the yang way cannot be taken, then the yin way must be taken. The process could not be ignored, but the result was absolute. If he couldn't achieve his goal, everything was just empty talk. The old monster did not teach Ning Fan too much, but he taught him 2 words. Unscrupulous. Chapter 219. Ning Fan swept away the medicine storehouses and pill recipes of the East, West and North Towers. He took away a total of 474th Revolution pills. High-grade 4th Revolution Earth Primordial Pill. 1 pill could increase a mid-nascent soul cultivator's magic power by 1 unit. 70 pills. Peak-grade 4th Revolution Heaven Primordial Pill. 1 pill could increase a late-nascent soul cultivator's magic power by 1 unit. 110 pills. Peak-grade 4th Revolution Profound Primordial Pill. 1 pill could increase a peak-nascent soul cultivator's magic power by 1 unit. 290 pills. All of these pills were 4th Revolution. If Ning Fan were to concoct them, he would need at least a year or even a few years to concoct all of them. Moreover, the amount of Millennium spiritual herbs required was terrifying. These pills were stored in the Lost World Palace for thousands of years. They were worth 1 billion immortal jade. Ning Fan took them all. 1 billion immortal jade. Even a void refinement realm cultivator might not have that many immortal jade. 1 billion immortal jade was more than enough to set up a mortal void realm grand formation that could reverse the flow of mountains and rivers. Of course, these pills could not be converted into money. After all, the Lost World Palace did not have 1 billion immortal jade. The Lost World Tower had a huge income, but it also had a huge expenditure. Ning Fan did not have the intention to sell the pills. It was the right decision to come to the Lost World Palace to obtain such a huge amount of pills. Lu Qing did not object to Ning Fan taking away the pills. He only asked Ning Fan to keep his relationship with Bei Xiaoman a secret before he ascends to immortality. Ning Fan agreed with a smile. He and Bei Xiaoman really had nothing to do with each other than these pills. He also took all the 5th Revolution pill recipes of the Lost World Palace. As expected of a major force of the 4 heavens. Even a small silver tower in the lower realms had many rare ancient items stored in it. Ning Fan had memorized all of these pill recipes. As such, his fifth revolution pill concoction technique could be put to good use. He took some millennium and 10,000 years spiritual herbs, but not too many. After all, Ning Fan's time was tight for cultivation. He did not put too much effort into pill concoction. It seemed that the early fifth revolution pill concoction technique was enough for now. Ning Fan took some magical treasures and spiritual equipment, but he did not value them too much. He was interested in immemorial divine weapon of Bei Xiaoman, the blood whip. Unfortunately, the whip had already been refined by Bei Xiaoman's mind. Unless he harmed her and snatched it, he would not be able to obtain it. Since he already had two immemorial mystical weapons, there was no need for him to fight with his cauldron. That's right, a human cauldron. Bei Xiaoman will never be able to escape from the devil's clutches in this lifetime. The night sky was dark. The female corpse lay on the bed obediently. She followed Ning Fan's order to rest, even though she was a corpse devil and did not need to sleep. As for Ning Fan, he was sitting on a cushion in front of the window, bathing in the moonlight while absorbing the medicinal power of the Earth Primordial Dan. The Earth Essence Pill, the Heaven Essence Pill, and the Profound Essence Pill could only be consumed by those in the specified realm. Since that was the case, the other two pills could be treated as well. He could only refine them after he broke through to the late and pinnacle stages. The medicinal power of a fourth revolution pill was already enormous. It would take a few months or even a few years for a normal nascent soul cultivator to refine one. However, Ning Fan could refine one pill in half a day's time. For an entire month, he did not leave his house and stayed in the North Tower to refine the medicinal energy. Lu Qing would occasionally visit him, but knowing that he was in seclusion, he did not disturb him. As for Bei Xiaoman, she seemed to be purposely avoiding Ning Fan. She was eager to disturb him. The dead woman was quietly embroidering. Each needle and thread was sewn into a flawless pattern. This kind of life was very peaceful. It almost made Ning Fan forget about the tiredness of the path of cultivation. After 1 month, he had refined 70 Earth Essence pills and his magic power had already reached 260 units. Only 40 units away from the late nascent soul realm, 40 units. Unless he has another 40 Earth Essence pills, 2 nascent soul realm Dao fruits or 2 nascent soul realm cauldrons, he would not be able to break through to the late nascent soul realm. In his Dan Tian, his nascent soul had completely stabilized. The primordial qi of heaven and earth in his body began to merge, giving Ning Fan an illusion that he was going to become one with heaven and earth and disappear into it. If I have another 40 units of magic power, I will be a grand cultivator. It would be a pity if I don't seize this opportunity to break through. Fortunately, I have this item. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a green jade gourd. It was filled with dark red blood. If he were to pour it out, there would probably be a few bowls of it. He had collected this blood when he was trying to stop Bei Xiaoman's bleeding. It was fine to be kind sometimes. However, Ning Fan would never return empty-handed. Even if he was doing a good deed, he still had to collect Bei Xiaoman's Gui blood. Ordinary female cultivators did not have menstruation. The so-called primordial Yin blood would only appear when they lose their virginity. However, even though she did not have the body of a human cauldron, she was still the best human cauldron for Ning Fan even if he did not pluck her. The blood of her menstruation was cold and evil, but it was a supreme nourishment. Ning Fan poured her blood into a jade bowl and drank it with a determined look. There was a hint of sweetness in it. After drinking 3 bowls, the blood was finished. Refinement. 30 units of magic power was refined vigorously. It fused into Ning Fan's immortal veins. Magic power, 290 units. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. It seemed like he had made the right decision in dealing with Bei Xiaoman. As long as she did not lose her virginity and her true Yin body was still intact, her Gui meridian would be in disorder. She could have her menstruation once every few years. The amount of blood he got from her once was comparable to the total amount of energy he plucked from her. Moreover, with her innate potential, she would reach the divine transformation realm, void refinement realm and void fragmentation realm sooner or later. When that time comes, her Gui blood would be even purer. Keeping her alive was equivalent to providing Ning Fan with a virgin blood bank. However, after a while, he stopped thinking about it. Putting Bei Xiaoman's matter aside, the most important thing now was to break through to the late nascent soul realm. I only need 10 units of magic power left. I must break through the last 10 units. His eyes fell on the heavenly primordial pill in front of him. There was a clear restriction on this pill. Only late nascent soul realm cultivators could consume it. If a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator consumed it, the medicinal power would be too strong and his immortal veins would not be able to withstand it. However, compared to breaking through to the nascent soul realm, a mere injury was nothing. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. He opened the bottle and consumed 10 heavenly primordial pills. Immediately, he felt a tearing pain in his immortal veins. A trace of blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. However, so what if it was blood? So what if it was self-harm? On the path of cultivation, one could only advance forward bravely. If one did not have an irresistible will, how could he break through the bottleneck? Heaven and earth were like a cage. Everyone was like a trapped beast. Some were trapped to death while some were still fighting. Refine. In his dantian, the nascent soul realm's small hands formed a series of hand seals and its eyes were filled with ruthlessness. He had broken too many rules along the way. This time was not a bad time. 5th day. 5 days later, a boundless aura force rose from the northern tower and swept towards Xianwu City. At this moment, all the cultivators in the city felt a great pressure. That pressure merged with heaven and earth as if it was the heavenly might. 1,000 miles of red clouds. The sky was filled with blood-red lightning. Someone in Xianwu City has broken through to the late nascent soul realm. Who is it? Northern Tower, Northern Tower. Could it be that person? What? It's revered Ming. At this moment, Lu Qing came out of his seclusion in shock. Bei Xiaoman also came out of her room in disbelief. Looking up, under the blood-red lightning, a black-haired young man held a lightning whip and lashed at the lightning clouds. Originally, the heavens should have sent a tribulation to him. But now, he was the one who defied the lightning and attacked the heavens. At the moment when he destroyed the lightning in the sky, his aura force rose rapidly. His magic power had broken through to 350 units. Late nascent soul realm. He actually broke through to the late nascent soul realm in such a short time. How could this be? Putting aside the fact that those earth primordial pills were insufficient, even if they were sufficient, he shouldn't have refined 70 earth primordial pills in just 1 month. This is... Bei Xiaoman sent out her spirit sense in disbelief. She sensed a trace of blood at the corner of Ning Fan's mouth. How could she not be familiar with that trace of blood? It was her blood. He drank my... Dirty and shameless. Zhou Ming, are you trying to anger me to death? Bei Xiaoman stomped her feet in anger and embarrassment. She finally understood how Ning Fan gathered enough magic power. However, she felt that she could not see through Ning Fan at all. What kind of man is he? He is different from all the men that my mother has told me about. Even though he was just a weak late nascent soul realm cultivator, Bei Xiaoman suddenly felt that Ning Fan could dominate the external endless sea today. In the future, he might even become a venerated being in the 4 heavens. Humph! You're quite strong. Even though you're just a despicable maggot. Bei Xiaoman snorted softly. No one knew what she was thinking. However, at the next moment, a scene that she would never forget for the rest of her life appeared. When the tribulation lightning dispersed, the sea mist turned into rain. When the rainstorm poured down like a heavy pillar, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head and his eyes were filled with indifference. This rain is too noisy. He grabbed with his hand. Millions of raindrops were dyed with a trace of black color and flew to the sky. Not a single drop was left. The rain stopped. Ning Fan actually used his divine ability to stop the thunderstorm that filled the sky. Bei Xiaoman had seen this method before. It was the use of divine intent. However, even a divine transformation realm cultivator who has just comprehended the divine intent would not be able to change the weather. However, he did it. Disperse. Ning Fan's voice melded with the sky and echoed in the Black Tortoise City for a long time. The old monsters who wanted to congratulate Ning Fan and establish a good relationship with him returned after being rejected. Ning Fan did not have time to waste on these people. He still needed to stabilize his cultivation base. After that, he would consume the heavenly primordial pill. Not enough. Not enough. The more he improved his strength, the more insignificant he felt. The heavenly Tao was a circle. The stronger one's cultivation base was, the more unknowns he would come into contact with. A newborn calf was not afraid of a tiger. In the past, he dared to challenge Moksha Sovereign and Bone Sovereign because he was ignorant and fearless. Even though he was still fearless now, he deeply understood how strong Bone Sovereign and Moksha Sovereign were. His arrival could cause the divine sovereigns of the Rain World to panic. Not enough. Not enough. Late nascent soul realm was still far from enough. After I consume all the heavenly primordial pills, my magic power will reach 460 units. It's still far from enough to break through to the divine transformation realm. 10,000 units of magic power. The barrier that is truly difficult to increase will start from the late nascent soul realm. Late nascent soul realm. Many heroes and old monsters were stuck at this step, their Tao disappearing and they perishing. Chapter 220. Stabilizing his cultivation base took a month. Refining the heavenly primordial pill took another month. His magic power of 460 units was as dense as the ocean. It was equivalent to the total of 100 gold core realm cultivators. However, it was still insufficient when compared to a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. After sitting on the cushion for a long time, Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes were as deep as a cold pond. Breaking through to the peak nascent soul realm is a problem. My mental state is also a problem. My cultivation base is growing too fast, but my mental state is still stuck at the mid-nascent soul realm. Unless I gain some enlightenment when I go out to train and improve my mental state, it's about time to leave Penglai. He muttered to himself and took out a jade slip. Immediately, the jade slip flashed and reflected a virtual image of a sea map in the room. This map almost included all the territories of the external endless sea. It even included the border of the internal endless sea. Tens of millions of li away from the northeast of Black Tortoise Island was the Pleasure Devil Sea. Black snow fell from the sky all year round. Moreover, it was rich in spiritual ores and the magnetic force was strong enough to interfere with spirit sense. Unless one's cultivation base reaches the divine transformation realm, they would usually get lost if they were not familiar with the sea. The long journey was not a problem. When Ning Fan was at the harmonious spirit realm, he might need to travel for a few years. However, his current speed was almost comparable to a divine transformation realm cultivator when he flew at full speed. With his abundant magic power, he could easily travel 3,000 li in an instant. It was not difficult for him to travel 1,000,000 li in a day. Being unfamiliar with the sea route was not a problem. Yulong was the solution to this problem. As for danger, it was even less of a problem. In the external endless sea, Ning Fan was the only one who could bring danger to others. No one could threaten him. However, this trip was not only for the auction of the Pleasure Devil Sex Cauldron but also for the secret realm of the Broken World. Even though false wild beasts could be killed, they should not be underestimated. The power of a divine transformation realm cultivator is too strong. The profound heavenly spirit slaying sword is just an incomplete profound heavenly treasure, but the power of that sword is almost stronger than all of my techniques. His spirit sense was already at the half-step divine transformation realm. It would be difficult for him to break through any further, unless he went into seclusion like he did in the past. Otherwise, he could only wait for the day when the bottleneck breaks through. However, even if his half-step divine transformation realm spirit sense uses the Black Tempest spirit-splitting technique, it might not be as powerful as the profound heavenly spirit-slaying sword. I can disregard supreme-grade magic treasures, But spirit treasures, magic treasures need to be upgraded. The Thunder Whip is a treasure that can kill the nascent soul. It has unpredictable methods and is extremely useful. However, once I enter the divine transformation realm, I will no longer have the heavenly tribulation blood lightning to refine this treasure. It will not be easy for me to improve it. I have already thought of a name for this treasure. It shall be called the Spirit-Shattering Whip. The divine body that the whip destroyed was not the primordial divine body, but the primordial divine soul. The direction of refining this treasure is still to kill the nascent soul. If it becomes a spiritual treasure, it would be to crush the nascent soul of a soul formation cultivator. Looking at the second immemorial divine weapon, the Spirit-Shattering Whip, Ning Fan's eyes lit up. This treasure was already a supreme grade high-grade magic treasure. As long as I can find lightning to refine it, my future will be boundless. One day, it might even surpass the immortal artifact it imitated, the deity striking whip. As for the first immemorial divine weapon, Ning Fan's finger touched his forehead and drew out a ray of starlight, turning it into Separation Slayer. Separation Slayer, this sword has the mortal void, great divine ability, soul burning. However, as the enemy's cultivation realm increases, the effect of the spirit augmentation divine ability will become weaker and weaker. As for the high-grade divine weapon, it is useless against nascent soul realm enemies, let alone spirit severing. It seems like I need to devour a few spirit veins to refine this sword. If I can find a spirit vein of a spirit-severing sect and try to devour it, not only can I refine the Separation Slayer sword, but I can also learn the second finger of the sword finger. The first finger of the sword finger can injure a nascent soul realm cultivator. The second finger can injure a spirit-severing realm cultivator. The first finger, mountain shattering. The second finger, heaven shattering. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with uncertainty. The grade of the Separation Slayer sword needs to be improved. As for the Spirit-Shattering Whip, I need to find an extraordinary spirit iron to augment its spirit. In Ning Fan's eyes, unless it is a mortal void grade spirit iron, it would be a waste to attach it to an immemorial divine weapon that has a boundless future. Perhaps I can buy some spirit iron during my trip to the Pleasure Devil Sea. After all, that place is rich in spirit ores. The only thing that could make Ning Fan refine it patiently was an immemorial divine weapon. As for the other magical treasures that he could use for a short period of time, he could just snatch them by force after his cultivation realm increases. After keeping the Separation Slayer sword, Ning Fan remained silent. What he was looking at was the blood jade ring on the tip of his finger. World Treasure, Yuan Yao Jade. World treasures were also divided into different grades. The Yuan Yao world in this jade ring was a small kiliacosm. The usage of this treasure was different from the cauldron ring. It could be used to nurture humans, but with the cauldron ring, there was no need to use it to nurture a cauldron. Another usage of the world treasure was to trap the enemy. Trapping the enemy in the world was a light punishment. In the world, the owner of the treasure could set up a grand formation in advance to attack the enemy. Of course, there were many ways to increase the attack of the world. Other than setting up formations, it could also be embedded with magical treasures and fused with divine abilities. The female corpse was still lying on her side on the bed. Her beautiful eyes were staring at Ning Fan without blinking. As for Ning Fan, he got up and walked to the window. He touched the cold and emotionless face of the female corpse. Wei Liang, wait for me. I need to go somewhere, all right? The female corpse replied respectfully. Then, Ning Fan's blood jade ring flashed. The power of the world enveloped him and he disappeared without a trace. The female corpse immediately became frightened. She crawled out of the thin blanket and was at a loss of what to do. Light, don't go. Her eyes flickered with a dark light as if she was about to go berserk because of Ning Fan's disappearance. Fortunately, Ning Fan's world power flashed and he appeared in front of her. Seeing that the female corpse was about to go berserk, he immediately hugged her and stroked her hair as if he was coaxing a child. I knew it. I probably have to bring you into the world with me. Otherwise, if you go berserk, I'm afraid this Xianwu city will face a calamity. Light. Seeing Ning Fan's appearance, The dark light in the female corpse's eyes gradually dissipated and she calmed down. Let's go. The profound Yin world can only be activated after one has attained the third level of the cultivation method. I'll bring you to see my first world first, the Yuan Yao world. The power of the world flashed and swept the two of them away. At the next moment, a man and a woman appeared in a void world. It was not a real void world. It was just pitch black and there was no void power to tear it apart. Even if there was, Ning Fan was not afraid because he had the Eastern Ocean Bell with him. It was as if night had descended upon the world. Beneath their feet was a desolate and uneven land which looked like the surface of the stars. This boundless land was tens of millions of li wide. However, there was no sunlight, no rain, no flowers, birds, insects and fishes. In the past, Bei Xiaoman wanted to imprison Ning Fan in this place. But I'm afraid. The female corpse grabbed Ning Fan's clothes gently with fear in her eyes. Don't be afraid. This place will have sunlight, rain, grass, trees, mountains and rivers sooner or later. Bei Xiaoman is so lazy. She has this world treasure but she doesn't use it to transform this world. This task will probably fall on me. Look, if I plant mountains and rivers on this boundless land, I can set up a grand formation. If magic treasures are embedded in this pitch-black sky, they will turn into stars. If I transform this world properly, even early divine transformation realm experts will die as soon as they enter this world. Light the strongest. The female corpse did not understand what Ning Fan was talking about. Her eyes were sparkling like stars. It was a kind of dependence without any memories or intelligence. It was an instinctive dependence. This dependence made Ning Fan chuckle. He stroked her hair again. In the cauldron ring, there was a pond of cold moon spring. It belonged to the Hu clan of Yu country. I'll leave this spring water for the lady in the cauldron to bathe. The mountains and rivers of this Yuan Yao world still need Ning Fan to obtain them bit by bit. In that case, Ning Fan might have something to do before he reaches the Pleasure Devil Sea. On the next day, Ning Fan and the female corpse left Xianwu City and Penglai Immortal Island. The pitiful old ancestor Yulong was also with them. He had already been planted with a mental seal. Lu Qing gave him a sea boat. Ning Fan accepted it without hesitation and treated it as if he had never used it. As for Bei Xiaoman, she hid from Ning Fan and did not send him off. Only when Ning Fan's figure was about to disappear into the horizon did she finally lean on the windowsill of the southern tower. She fiddled with the roses on the flower rack and let out a soft sigh. She seemed to be sighing and relieved at the same time. That annoying Zhou Ming finally left. Without the protection of the stone warrior, it's still not suitable for me to move around alone since I'm about to reach the divine transformation realm. Otherwise, it might be interesting to follow Zhou Ming to the Pleasure Devil Sea to have some fun. Why do I have to follow a maggot? I'm not that lonely. There are still 50 years left in this expedition. How many times can I meet Zhou Ming in 50 years? The next time we meet, he should be a divine transformation realm cultivator. I also need to prepare for my seclusion to reach the divine transformation realm. I can't lose to him. Next time, don't even think about withstanding my kick so easily. And the Yuan Yao Jade. I must defeat him fair and square and take it back. I don't want to marry him. However, when she thought of the jade slip she used to defile herself, Bei Xiaoman's face immediately turned red and she spat angrily. This Zhou Ming is really shameless. With how shameless he is, he can't possibly be looking at the recording of the jade slip alone, right? He could see me moaning and groaning while he touched himself hungrily. Zhou Ming, if you dare to use my recording to touch yourself, I'll fight you to the death. Bei Xiaoman felt a chill down her spine. The wind of the outer sea blew and the cultivators forgot the passage of time. It had been more than 10 years since he left Yu country. Ning Fan held the female corpse in his arms while his other hand grabbed old ancestor Yulong like he was carrying a chick. Then, he treaded on the waves and traveled across the sky. The reason why he did not travel across the sky was because he wanted to collect some seawater into the Yuan Yao world. As the saying went, there can't be a world without water. Water was the source of all spirits. In the eastern part of the Yuan Yao world, Ning Fan had hollowed out the land within 30 million li and filled it with seawater, forming an ocean. In order to increase the spiritual nature of the ocean, he even snuck into the ocean and collected a lot of corals, reefs, sand, ocean, and vegetation. Just like that, 2/3 of the Yuan Yao world had become the ocean. As he traveled from the east to the north, every time he came across a floating island, Ning Fan would seize the island without giving any explanation. Every time he arrived at an island, he would leave you long behind and destroy half of the island with his sword, keeping it in the Yuan Yao world. His actions immediately angered countless forces in the external endless sea. Many nascent soul realm and gold core realm cultivators even chased after him. However, on the 11th island, after Ning Fan killed 11 nascent soul realm cultivators and 300 gold core realm cultivators, someone immediately recognized that the one who killed and destroyed the island was revered Ming, Zhou Ming. All the hunting orders were revoked almost at the same time. As for the forces in the external endless sea who offended Ning Fan, each of them trembled in fear. They were afraid that Ning Fan would come after them. Fortunately, Ning Fan was multitasking. He focused all of his attention on his journey and creating the world. He did not have the time to care about these little cats and dogs at all. As such, all the floating islands that were on Ning Fan's path would move their sex away, leaving half of the island for Ning Fan to take. This also saved Ning Fan a lot of time. Whenever he descended on an island, he would directly destroy it with his sword and take the island away. Nearly 100 floating islands along the way were kept by Ning Fan in the Yuan Yao world. 1/3 of the land in the west began to have mountains and rivers. Mountains, rivers, and oceans were formed. This wasteland began to show signs of life. On the land of mountains and rivers, 4,999 formation eyes were drawn. Each formation eye was filled with 4,999 pieces of immortal jade. Nearly 25 million immortal jade were used to set up a peak divine transformation realm formation. Here, I will explain the formation in detail. Formations below 10 formation eyes are spirit realm grand formations. 10 to 100 formation eyes are core realm grand formations. 100 to 1,000 formation eyes are nascent realm grand formations. 1,000 to 5,000 formation eyes are divine transformation realm grand formations. 5,000 to 10,000 are mortal void realm grand formations. 10,000 to 99999 are immortal void realm grand formations. When a formation reaches the divine transformation realm, there is a limit to the number of immortal jade that can be filled in the formation eyes. Each formation eye needs to be filled with at least several immortal jade. Mortal void realm grand formations need to be filled with 10 times more immortal jade. Immortal void realm grand formations are no longer as simple as activating them with immortal jade. This peak divine transformation realm grand formation is called mountain and sea formation. It is already at the peak of the extreme transformation realm. There are 4,999 formation eyes. If each formation eye is filled with 4,999 immortal jade, it would cost nearly 25 million immortal jade. If he were to set up a mortal void realm grand formation, mountain and river reverse, he would need at least 500 million immortal jade to set up more than 7,000 formation eyes. The grand formation that he used to destroy the Heaven Beast sect was just in shape. He did not have enough immortal jade to activate it. Even so, it still caused the Heaven Beast sect to suffer a great loss and blood flowed like a river. If a divine transformation realm cultivator is drawn into the Yuan Yao world by setting up a peak divine transformation realm grand formation, he would most likely be injured by the formation even if he had a formation breaking treasure. Let's not talk about it anymore. Other than setting up the formation, Ning Fan had also planted magic treasures in the pitch-black night sky of the Yuan Yao world. Every time he went to an island, he would seize all the supreme grade magic treasures and place them in the night sky. Each of the magic treasures was like starlight. After Ning Fan seized all the islands, there were hundreds of bright stars in the night sky. As long as Ning Fan activated his magic power, he could activate hundreds of magic treasures and stars to attack the people who enter the realm. Even a divine transformation realm cultivator would suffer some setbacks from the attacks of hundreds of nascent soul realm cultivators. Heaven and earth, air and wind were created. This Yuan Yao world was made into a killing realm by Ning Fan. With this realm, as long as a cultivator is brought into the realm, Ning Fan would have 30% confidence to kill him even if he is an early divine transformation realm cultivator. In that case, even if the female corpse loses control and the stone warrior betrays him, Ning Fan would still have the power to fight against a divine transformation realm cultivator. The Pleasure Devil Sea is not far away now. Black snow began to fall from the sky. Master, the Pleasure Devil Sea is 1 million li away from us. In this sea, do not easily spread your spirit sense. Even if you do, don't spread it too far. Otherwise, you will definitely be injured by the magnetic force of the spiritual mind. Magnetic force? I understand. The magnetic force was a special ability formed by the fusion of the primordial chi of heaven and earth and the spiritual mind. With the magnetic force, one could cultivate the divine light of metamagnet. If one cultivates the divine light of metamagnet to its peak, it would be the legendary true immortal ability, 5-colored divine light. The divine transformation realm old ancestor of the Pleasure Devil sect, Su Russian. This person was the cultivator of the divine light of metamagnet. Even among the 13 divine transformation realm cultivators in the external endless sea, this person's technique was ranked at the top. Su Russian. While Ning Fan was muttering to himself, his eyes suddenly turned cold. In the midst of the black snow storm, there was a thick smell of blood. Ning Fan's eyes moved. That woman looks a little familiar. Alright, it's her. In the midst of the black snow, a group of green-robed female cultivators were panting. Each of them had severe injuries. There were more than 30 female cultivators in this group. All of them were beautiful and their cultivation bases were not weak. The weakest among them was an early gold core realm cultivator. Moreover, there were 3 nascent soul realm females among them. The one in the middle wore a green palace dress and was an early nascent soul realm cultivator. She seemed to have been severely poisoned. Her pretty face was pale and her cherry lips were purplish-black. The 2 females beside her were slightly older. They were mid-nascent soul realm cultivators. They were the guest elders of this sect. This group of females was not weak in the external endless sea. However, at this moment, they were surrounded by 5 bald men with hideous smiles. Among the 5 of them, 4 of them were mid-nascent soul realm cultivators while the bald old monk who led them was a late nascent soul realm cultivator. The 5 of them had protruding temples. They were dressed in black monk robes. Some of them were fat and some of them were skinny. Each of them held a black Buddhist treasure in their hands and stepped on a black cloud. Each of them was filled with evil chi, especially the old monk who was fat. From afar, he looked like a mountain of meat. His eyes shone with evil light as he glanced at the group of females. Eventually, his gaze fell on the woman in the middle and he licked his lips. Sect Master by Yao, Su Yao. Why didn't you stay in the sect? Why did you come to this Pleasure Devil Sea? This is not a place where women like you should come to. Don't you know that the women of this sea are only human cauldrons? Who are you? You know that I am the sect master of one of the 10 sections. How dare you poison me? Su Yao's pale face gradually turned red and her body became weak. The faces of the 2 mid-nascent soul realm guest elders immediately turned pale. They recognized the poison that Su Yao used. Falling chastity powder. If a nascent soul realm female cultivator asks a single strand of it, she will lose all her strength and be at the mercy of the enemy. This, only the Black Buddha sect of the Internal Sea has it. You devils are actually from the Black Buddha sect of the Internal Sea. That's right. I am the 9th elder of the Black Buddha sect, Mi Lian. You virgins are all in my hands. None of you will be able to escape. The 10 sects of the External Sea are nothing in the eyes of my Black Buddha sect. I am here to buy a divine transformation realm human cauldron. Unexpectedly before entering the Pleasure Devil sect, I have already caught a group of human cauldrons. The old monk took out a black gold magical bell and shook it lightly. Immediately, the surrounding black sand rolled. All the women who breathed in the black sand were immediately burned with lust. The black sand had an obvious purpose. It was to extract the essence sacs of nascent soul realm sea demons to dry them and grind them into powder. Although it was not as domineering as the falling chastity powder, it was enough to kill all the women below the nascent soul realm. Almost as soon as the black sand appeared, all the female cultivators except for the 2 mid-nascent soul realm elders were poisoned by the lust poison and lost their combat strength. The Black Buddha sect cultivated the joy Zen and had countless secret techniques. It was easy for them to deal with women. Although the 2 elders were not poisoned, their escape route was blocked by the sandstorm and they could not escape at all. The old monk's eyes were filled with mockery as if he was a cat toying with a mouse. What he loved the most was to see a woman throw herself into his arms despite knowing that he was the enemy. Su Yao's face was filled with despair. She gradually felt that her lower body was sticky and slippery. Originally, she wanted to buy a nascent soul realm Dao fruit in the Pleasure Devil Sea to prepare for her sister Insuchio's nascent soul formation. Although the Pleasure Devil Sea was a place where devil cultivators ran rampant, most of the cultivators from the outer Endless Sea did not dare to make a move on the female cultivators from the Green Jade Immortal Island. However, the cultivators from the inner Endless Sea were different. In the eyes of the cultivators from the inner Endless Sea, the 10 sects and 3 islands were just ordinary forces. Su Yao did not expect that there would be a spirit-severing cauldron for sale in the Pleasure Devil auction this time. This cauldron had even attracted many devils from the inner Endless Sea. These people were unscrupulous and they were not afraid of the prestige of the Green Jade Immortal Island at all. Damn it. If I were to be humiliated by this perverted monk, I would rather die. Su Yao's eyes were filled with misery. The difference in cultivation between a late nascent soul realm cultivator and a middle nascent soul realm cultivator was like heaven and earth. Not to mention that they were poisoned by the lust poison and that they had a technique to restrain women, even if they did not. Su Yao and the others were definitely not a match for these 5 devils. However, just when she was about to draw her sword and commit suicide, a shocking aura dispersed the black sand that was thousands of miles away. In front of that aura, Mi Lian and the other 4 devil monks were not even considered as ants. Under this aura, the primordial chi of the heaven and earth shook. Mi Lian felt as if her chest was hit by a heavy blow and she retreated dozens of steps before she could stabilize her body. However, the other 4 monks felt a pain in their chest and spurted out black blood. Mi Lian forced herself to calm down. However, she was already extremely afraid of the person who came because she had never met him before. This aura was extremely strong. However, what made Mi Lian even more afraid was that there was a trace of evil chi within the aura that did not dissipate and was glowing with red light. How many nascent soul realm cultivators had to be killed to accumulate such a heavy evil chi? Who is it? How dare you obstruct the business of my Black Buddha sect in the inner Endless Sea? Don't you want to live anymore? Don't you know that the sect master of my Black Buddha sect is a middle spirit severing realm cultivator? Mi Lian gritted her teeth and said, Zhou Ming. A young man in white clothes and black cloak slowly appeared. Behind him was the female corpse and Yulong. When she saw the person who came, Su Yao, who was originally in despair, immediately revealed a look of disbelief. She had seen this person before. She had heard of this name for a long time. It's you. How could it be? It's really you. This young man was the man who sent Insuchio to the Green Jade Immortal Island that day. However, Su Yao could not understand. When she met Ning Fan that day, she thought that he was a mid-nascent soul realm cultivator. However, Insuchio told her that he was a harmonious spirit realm cultivator. Harmonious spirit realm. However, the aura of the young man in front of her was obviously more terrifying than a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. If Insuchio did not lie, then it meant that 10 years had passed since this person sent Insuchio to the island. This person had cultivated from a harmonious spirit realm cultivator to a peak nascent soul realm cultivator. If what he said was true, Not only was he strong enough to fight against a peak nascent soul realm cultivator, he was even invincible below the spirit-severing realm. If he is really Zhou Ming, why you? Su Yao was so shocked that she could not speak a word. Fairy Su Yao, it has been 10 years since we last met. You are still as elegant as before. How is Suqiu? When the young man who was as cold as ice talked about Suqiu, his eyes became warm and he smiled faintly. When this smile fell into the eyes of Su Yao, who was suffering from the aphrodisiac, it seemed to be more handsome than the smiles of all the men in the world. It made her heart tremble. Tender body is even more unbearable. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.